before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Hey, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's how we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
Welcome to the final day of the group stages. This is the ESL Mobile Open Brawl Stars Challenger Season 2 2021 for the Asia Pacific region. My name's AJ, I'm the Mustache, down here with the one and only Victor Cax, back here in action. Victor, how do you feel, man? A lot of, crazy stuff about to break down in here if we meet certain conditions, my friend.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, the amount of variables is going to be at play here today is going to be quite insane because, again, today we're going to be determining who's going to be the last couple of teams or maybe even the last team that's going to be able to get into the playoffs. So there's plenty of really exciting things to talk about here. Can't wait till we can get down onto the matches itself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, Crazy Lagoon as well as Iceborne, both of these teams, they've had quite a good run in the competition so far, I guess you could say. No, they both sit in very uncomfortable situations, right? Because Iceborne in that 5th position and Crazy Lagoon in the 6th. As we know, only the top 4 will move on to the playoffs. These are the qualified teams who have made it up to this stage so far, Victor.
Yeah, and it's only the top 4 that's going to be able to make it to the playoffs, right? So that's why today is so important for these final 4 teams here, and especially for Iceborne and Crazy Lagoon. Both of these guys have been quite neck to neck, especially when you compare their performances against the other teams. So really, today is going to be, the final day of truth. Let's put it that way for these 2 lineups here to really pull in their final performance here and hopefully make their way to the playoffs.
Yeah, and these are your standings, of course. Zeta Division as well as Little Moya G. They took on that epic battle yesterday, which was epically funny at moments, if you think about it. But of course, Little Moya G, they might just be the last ones laughing to the bank on the day of the grand final. So we, of course, have to keep our eyes peeled for that one. Both of those teams moving on to the playoffs. Kek's team as well as Team Flash, they are in the 3rd and 4th spot. Kek's team, they will not be performing in here today. But of course, as for the side of Team Flash, they will have the opportunity to meet Asphyxia. Isn't that right, Victor?
Oh yeah, and that one is going to be, I'm going to feel a little bit bad for Asphyxia because, this is, they're kind of at the bottom of the leaderboard here and going up against probably one of the strongest teams here in Southeast Asia. But, the fact that they're actually been able to hold their own a lot throughout these 8 play days here, it truly is a testament to how good they are as a team, because remember, this is the first time they're actually been able to get this far. So the fact that, they've been able to bring some good fights regardless of the performance, I think it's still something commendable.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, these are the game modes within the matches that we will go through. Brawl Ball, Bounty, Gem Grab, Siege, Heist, as well as Hot Zone. But only 5 of these modes will be played in here today. And I'm pretty sure you guys know those maps, know those modes already. It's pretty much exactly what we had running yesterday, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. If you haven't been familiar with this, I mean, you've got lots of play days to kind of catch up on, you know. We're going to be going again onto the gem grab map of Gem 4, then after the Brawl Ball map of Center Stage, and then going to the Bounty round in Purple Paradise. So it's going to be quite chaotic in the first half here because, you know how the swings can be so dramatic in these first two maps. But, you know, with the if they manage to get past the Bounty round stage, then it'll be off to the Ring of Fire here. There's going to be the Hot Zone round, and the fifth map decider is going to be some assembly required. A very classic map here for Bot Siege, and certainly going to be the perfect place here to break the tie should that ever occur.
Yeah, so yesterday we didn't get a chance to see Ring of Fire or some assembly required. Kicks team as well as Zeta Division, they just did not allow us to take a peek into those maps. But let's see if or not these four teams will allow us to see a little bit of that, right? Today's matches as Crazy Lagoon look to take on Icebarn once again. This could be an absolute stunner because of where they sit on the leaderboards. Because if Icebarn manages to win this particular matchup, they will definitely qualify through. But if they do not, then Crazy Lagoon will be holding them back into a tiebreaker, which is definitely something Icebarn is not looking forward to. So, you know, we definitely can expect them to go all out. Later on, Asphyxia can, you know, they are not able to make it through the playoffs, but they can still hold Team Flash back, because let us not forget, Team Flash at the moment 9 points as well, and that might just force Team Flash into a tiebreaker situation of their own. So blockbuster matchups coming up all through today, Vector.
Isn't it such a unique opportunity there, especially for a team like Asphyxia? Imagine the amount of power that you wield being in that position there. You can literally determine whether or not your opponent is going to be able to get through just based off of that performance here in this match. So again, this is why it's so exciting to go ahead and check out these matches here, because you don't really know what you're going to be able to expect, you know, coming into these, right?
Yeah, and you know, yesterday we did see Meg pop out quite a number of times, and she was an absolute mecha buster out there on the battlefield. Let's see if or not we will be seeing her a little bit more in here today. You know, one thing to touch about this brawler, as soon as she turns into her mecha form, she does get that additional HP on her, but she, you know, slowly starts to drain off a little bit, right? Not a lot of support was provided than Meg yesterday, but that burst performance truly is there. So let's see if or not she will be jumping on into this next matchup between Crazy Lagoon as well as Icebarn, because as we set things up at Gem Fort, having that burst potential might just come in handy. But once again, that Meg definitely needs a little bit of aid right behind her. Perhaps a Byron or a Poco might just fit that role.
Yeah, but on top of that, I think it's also imperative, especially because, you know, you're going to be very limited in the amount of time that you have when she has her mech completely up. So you're going to have to time that, you know, to a perfection. You got to be able to synchronize that along with the supers of your fellow brawlers. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be able to play that out. But knowing that these two teams are so close in terms of performance, they will definitely want to search for every little bit of advantage they can find. So if they can master the mech better than the other team, that could be already a huge advantage going into this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Crazy Lagoon in here with Wahochi, Kuru, as well as Miria. You know, we've seen them perform in Season 1, and we see them yet again in here in Season 2. It's a little sad, I guess, to see Crazy Lagoon in a situation like this, because although they've given their best just has not been good enough so far. And it wasn't really any fault of theirs. It's just that the quality in Season 2 has grown tremendously in comparison, Victor.
Yeah, and exactly, and you know, that's kind of the difficulty of being on top, you know, especially in a scene as competitive as Brawl Stars. You know, it's you really have to constantly be improving yourself day after day, and if you alter even just a little bit, you can quickly find yourself left out in the lurch. So in any case, you know, let's go ahead and have a look at Icebarn here, comprised of Aaron, Ryohei, Molneko, and Arotan. I'm so familiar with these guys, you know, after having seen them since Season 1, and you know, I was hoping that Season 2 is going to be a really strong one for them, you know, coming back as one of the strong teams for Japan, but it seems like that hasn't quite been the case, even though they had a really good start, I have to say, you know, from the first couple of play days.
Yeah, but we do have to say, because remember during those ladders, and you and I, Victor, we were both doing those mobile open recap shows as well. We did see Kick's team in a lot of those ladders, but at the end of the day, they didn't manage to kind of qualify in for season 1's group stages, and of course the playoffs as well overall. So we didn't really get that chance to see them. Top picks coming through from Iceman, by the way: Byron, Max, Gene, Ash, and Buzz, the top bands. A lot will be on the line for them, but as they go in here and take on this team that has definitely brought in so much of pressure into the competition so far, I don't think anything can change what they have already set up in their minds. I think they've gotten all of their strategy in place here based on the research they've been doing in the competition so far, Victor, and now it's going to be crunch time.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, you want to come into these kind of matchups here, bringing the best brawlers you have in your toolkit, right? But I feel that what will actually end up kind of winning these kind of matchups here, especially between two very close teams, is really going to be down to adaptability. We've seen that a lot with some of the Singaporean teams, where if they can adapt very well to the Japanese teams, they can still win quite a few significant rounds. And this kind of pattern definitely will continue here, especially in Brawl Stars, where you can really swing the momentum to your side very, very well, just from having a very good, very strong, and very cohesive lineup. So hopefully both of these teams have already done their homework onto each other. Iceborne, of course, being one of the veterans here, certainly have a lot of data that you can actually get just from watching a lot of the previous matches. It's pretty sure that else as well. It can be very, very winning to this one.
Absolutely, both of these teams, they exactly what taken out the block us from the equation. They both damage each other. They know how well each and these teams, they have had so much impact into those matches. Brock, especially on the side of the Crazy Lagoon, the reach that even though with the speed of the projectiles nerfed a little bit, he's still a pain in this particular meta as well.
Yeah, in this meta, really the main thing they're looking at is actually the range, because I feel that the teams that really pick up brawlers that have a better range tend to have more success, though, because I mean, it does make sense logically, because given this current meta here with good positioning as well, it can be very, very hard to nail down your targets. So having just that little bit of range there really makes a big difference, because especially for if you're playing up against teams that have not really played against a specific brawler, for example, just not having that knowledge of where the maximum range or the maximum limit of these brawlers can become suddenly a huge advantage for your side. So so I'm still thinking that this still will become quite a pattern that we're seeing so far in a lot of the other matches here. But safe to say, with this sharpshooter meta being kind of the norm, I think if any one of these teams can really pull a curveball here, it's going to be based on that. If they can find a kind of a good lineup here, given that Poco is still on the table, I wouldn't be surprised even that running a heavyweight, 2 heavyweight plus a healer combination can still be very, very strong here. So there's still a lot of variations and a lot of variables that can be played around here between these two teams. So I again still cannot wait to see what choices these two teams are going to make here, because literally there's a lot of things on the table here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, the 2 heavyweight with a healer method on this map definitely will bring you a lot of benefit, but that is only as far as you have all of those defenses up to kind of play around as well, right? And if the opposition side, if your opponents, they kind of figure out this early in the game, and if they do have their supers to take down some of those defenses, then you're going to be depending on a lot of the tankiness and, one good sweep, like what you've mentioned already, Victor, just waiting for those supers to charge up and playing your timing really well might just be able to get you the win. Because at the end of the day, when you go into Gem Fort, the first ones at the Gem Spawner aren't, necessarily always the ones who end up winning that matchup at the end of the day. You can just allow your opponents to pick up a majority of those early gems, but just continuously going in there for those pokes, right? Level yourself up a little bit as well, get your supers online, and like you said, play the timing really well, go in for one clean jump. And we both know that Iceborne as well as Crazy Lagoon, both of these teams are capable of, those sort of plays. So it's really no saying exactly how this matchup can go now.
Yeah, so really, I think it's going to be the first one to kind of like break out of that box there is going to have the advantage, I feel, because from that point onwards, once the cat is out of the bag, so to speak, the other team is going to have a lot of ground to catch up from that point, especially if they aren't able to, stabilize that matchup. So, again, at this kind of level of competition here, you cannot really rely on the quote-unquote tried and true type of strategies. You have to find very, very creative ways to take your opponents by surprise, find creative ways to target certain weaknesses that your opponents may not be actually aware of. These small kind of details can really play a huge part here, in this matchup. So especially this first one here, Crazy Lagoon versus Iceborne, I mean, they're still very much neck to neck, even though the path that they had to come to this stage here has been quite different, but nevertheless, I would still say that both of them have the chance to get into the playoffs. It's really down to how they can perform in this best of 5 matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's talk a little bit more about the brawler composition that you earlier mentioned, right? You spoke about 2 tanks in there, going in with 1 passive healer. Perhaps that passive healer could be Byron. I really prefer him in that mid segment of that map because he not only does have the ability to pick up those gems, he can support both the left as well as right side flanks, and he can get perhaps a good control of that mid segment of the map because he does have the range on his shots as well, right? You bring that Poco in, you do have a little bit of a buff on that healing position, because yesterday we kind of saw exactly how well Pam was effective on this first map on Gemfort because of the reach that she has, and even going up against a Rosa who's so super tanky that Pam really didn't have much of an issue at all yesterday, Victor.
Yeah, and like I said, especially in this sharpshooter meta, range is literally everything. You always want to pick the brawlers with the maximum amount of range, and Pam is certainly one of those. The thing about Byron, though, is like, I know that there are some players who really don't like to play Byron because it's very, very difficult, actually, because you're managing a lot of things at once, as a Byron player. Not only are you taking care of positioning, but you're also literally the main healer for your team. And if you get taken down, or if you're distracted even for a split second, you could easily lose one of your flanks. So it's usually a very, very tough kind of a brawler to play, actually, especially at this level. So that's why the kind of like safer way would be to go with a Poco, but that still carries its risk because once all 3 of your brawlers, your 2 heavyweights and your Poco, or use up your supers, that's literally the point where you're going to be most vulnerable. And if you aren't able to get eliminations done, before you reach that point there, it's very easy for your opponent to reverse sweep you. So there's always these kind of things that players have to consider. So perhaps especially on the gem grab round, that teams will want to go for more like a poke battle where it's going to be sharpshooter versus sharpshooter. That way they can kind of like slow down the pace of the game a little bit and try to play a little bit more based on tactics and strategy. But nevertheless, let's see how it goes, though, because it looks like they're going to be picking up a Rosa here on Crazy Lagoon's side. So it looks like they're opting for something a little bit more aggressive, especially with the M's blanketing everything for the left-hand side. It looks like Crazy Lagoon are going very early onto that map control.
Oh, Aaron pulls Ems in, and unfortunate for Wahochi, he gets taken out early here. Now Miria has to back away, and so far the pressure has been absolutely perfect for the side of Iceborne. And now Ryohei almost taken down by Miria here. Will go ahead to aggress on in. Miria goes in for the jump. Kuru takes him out from the back, and now that backstab is solid. Aaron once again goes through for that snuff. This time it will be that Rosa that gets taken down. So far the fight is quite hot between the two. Iceborne, they once again will be able to take over the gem spawner with Aaron and his not Aaron, Ryohei super, and the Sandstorm will be that perfect setup. As long as they can continue to nail this, Iceborne's not going to have a problem at all, Victor.
The thing is that they have the gem advantage. Now they're going to be conceding the ground a little bit, and unfortunately there's not a lot of obstacles on their side of the map there, so Crazy Goons certainly can use that to advantage, allowing them to get a lot of very clean shots to Wisdom. Unfortunately, it's not really resulting in too much damage nor any eliminations. They really need to be able to pull their power together in order to be able to pull that off. But now it's a little bit of an attempt now for Crazy Goon to try to gain some sustain onto this gem grabber. They're going to try to move in very aggressively there, but Rosa gets picked up though. Didn't quite nail down the kill they was looking for, and they lose the M's as a result. So that's a lot of ground conceded now. Iceman just needs one more gem to start a countdown, and will they be able to get it? Yes, they do.
This is going to be a problem because Iceborne, they just have the better composition, right? They do have the Pam who does have the reach, and they have the Genie in there to go in for the pull anytime possible. There you go. Sandstorm pops out. That is the special of Sandy, and they are not going to be touched at all. Iceborne, what a clean shutdown. Crazy Lagoon defeated, but that's just the first round. We still have a few more to go, and Crazy Lagoon, I mean, it's all about exactly how they match up to this fight now, right? We talked a little bit about this. Rosa going up against that Pam. It was already proven yesterday that that was not really a fight that they can afford to take on. They still wanted to test it out though, Victor. Paid a high price for it.
Yeah, and I think the real problem is that they didn't really have a reliable source of healing there onto the Bruiser. So the moment she tries to charge in, even though she has the shielding up, she cannot really sustain too long in those fights. Her best bet probably would be if the M's had moved up together at the same time. I think actually they did do that quite a few times, but this Rosa unfortunately isn't able to survive long enough when all three members of Iceborne just basically targets her down. So I think that was a little bit of a bad call there. Maybe they could have if they wanted to try to go with this strat, I think they still needed a very good healer like a Poco in order to be able to be that aggressive. So I don't think this necessarily worked out. I think like it might be better for Crazy Lagoon to try to play with more ranged brawlers this time around. So let's see whether or not they'll be able to adapt. So I think this certainly is already shots fired already from Iceborne. So this is going to be Crazy Lagoon's turn to bring a reply.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Rosa didn't really have a lot of mobility on her, and the moment the Rosa went on to the attack is the moment where, Crazy Lagoon might not be able to make a comeback from that, right? I mean, like you said, man, there's just no sustainability in a fight like that, just going in there for the dive, and Wahochi kind of paid the price for it one too many times. But let's see exactly how they kind of go in here and adjust to this situation. But at the same time, it's not like Iceborne's going to bring in the exact same composition and get caught out, right? I'm a little bit interested to see exactly how Iceborne as well switches things up a little bit, because if anything, we know them to not be a one-trick pony. They have many of these tricks up their sleeves, Victor.
Oh yeah, and sometimes just having a lot of tricks allows you to win out long and protracted best of fives. So you just got to be ready for whatever to be able to throw to you the next round. Coming into this, but I'm thinking they wouldn't probably wouldn't vary too much from their current lineup here. I'm still expecting they would still use the Genie here a lot. I mean, Genie has been really good. Still has a lot of range and still able to deal a lot of damage, especially at close range. So I don't think they're going to be varying that much. I do think that Crazy Lagoon definitely is going to have to change this kind of setup. Is not going to work. So either they're going to have to go all in on the heavyweight plus healer meta, or they have to just play the same meta that Crazy Lagoon is doing. And it looks like they're going to be going for the latter option. They're still going to be sticking with the Rosa, but they still have not brought a healer. They're going to be switching the M's on the right-hand side. She's already doing a number onto Ryohei, but they can't bring the follow-up until the Max finds a kill right from the center. So that's going to be down for the Sandy. Now it's going to be a Q for them to try to move forward. Can't quite get the Rosa to work, though. She still isn't able to get the kill done.
Oh, now the Rosa's just dropping way too early, and then going in for those dives just not going to help them out. But, that being said, it was a distraction played quite well. Kuru did manage to pick up 2 of those gems, but immediately now, Aaron coming in for the response. 5-6 now on their side seems to make the initial effort from Wahochi absolutely useless. And now Sandy pulls out the Sandstorm once again. Ryohei with that opportunity will be able to shut down Wahochi. Mopi with that Pam play is just absolutely solid. call it. They sweep up each and every single one of these players from the side of Crazy Lagoon, and Iceborne will be able to maintain their pressure. This time, Sandy with the Sandstorm once again, and they are just picking up these gems to victory. The 9th one now, one final one. Will Ems be able to shut down? Yes, does find Aaron. Wahochi goes in for Mopi as well. Crazy Lagoon, they steal it away.
Yeah, they managed to steal it away at the last minute there, and that was because Ems tried to go for a very suicidal play from the back line there. Now they already have 12 gems in the hand. Can they hold on for the next 3 seconds though? It looks like they're able to hold the line there. Rosa literally puts her body in the way there. Defender shots were coming through. Crazy Lagoon finally takes one round away from Iceborne.
I think that was a balance of just being very, very persistent with exactly the kind of lineup that you think would work, along with a fair share of luck thrown in there as well, right? Just one mistake from the side of Iceborne, they don't back away. They get a little too cheeky and immediately punished from the side of Crazy Lagoon. And Rosa, it initially just wasn't as effective as the side of Crazy Lagoon wanted her to be. But at the end, they still managed to turn it around, Victor.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the move that we're trying to make even from the previous round itself. I mean, Ems basically had to wrap around to the back there in order to kind of backdoor them, and they used that distraction in order to have the Rosa move up as well, so that they were able to finally catch them in a kind of a pincer movement. So I think the problem here from this point onwards is that Iceborne is not going to fall for that once more. They're definitely going to keep a very close eye on the Ems from this point onwards, and the moment that she tries to go for flanks like that, they're going to try to stop her in the tracks. So I mean, it's good that they finally managed to make this work out for their side here, Crazy Lagoon, but I kind of feel that the next round there, especially if Iceborne is smart enough, they will definitely be able to counteract this kind of plays very, very easily. So I think like still very good try there from Crazy Lagoon's side, but still I would still think they need to have a different kind of lineup here. They want to have a chance to really finish them off basically in this first map.
Yeah, they were kind of focusing in on a lot on that Rosa, because you know exactly what will happen once she takes her super. She activates the super already, and it's gonna probably be game over towards that final seconds. And you know, just way too much of attention being paid that side just allows them to be a little lackadaisical with the pressure play on Ems, right? And like you said, that wraparound seems to have just proven to be the effective strat for the side of Crazy Lagoon. Iceborne this time round, adjustment or the exact same thing, because they have an opportunity now to perhaps make a comeback or allow Crazy Lagoon to run away with this. Let's see exactly what happens in round number 3. It just seems to be Ems as well as the Genie in that middle. Ryohei will bin through Sandy. Exact same thing. But Byron will be pulled out by the side of Kuru, and we will be able to see Miria jumping on in here with the pressure play of that Ems, trying to take Sandy out of the equation. Smart plays coming through from the side of Crazy Lagoon with the change-up, but Iceborne just sticking to what exactly works.
Yeah, but I think this is not going to work out well for Iceborne this time around, because the Byron can play a huge role here in the middle. As long as he can stay on the gem spawner and constantly bring shots there from a distance, he can already put a massive advantage for Crazy Lagoon in the early stage of this game. So now it's going to be up to Iceborne now to regain some of the ground here. Aaron's trying to move up along with the Amps there, Mulpi, as he attempts to try to force Miria out of this grassy knoll. But so far, Byron's still holding all the cards in his hand. Miria gets a kill against Ems. Now it's going to be the cue to move on to Aaron. They can't quite do the finisher, though. Aaron, the Genie, still is alive and still is able to counteract this. Finally, Sandy does get taken down. There's no Sandstorm this time. Can he capitalize on this, though? Ems comes back into the fray. Gets taken down there immediately by Aaron, though. Oh, unfortunate for them. The Sandy comes back in. They try to take him down, but now the countdown's already started. Unfortunately, they lose out the Pam, so the countdown is interrupted, but only just. They just need the Byron to pick up one more gem, and yeah, he does pick up the gem. They have 11 on hand now. Even though they lose Miria, they still have the countdown going on.
Oh, well, let's see if or not Wahoshi will be able to be effective in the mid area. Yes, he is absolutely so. Miria now stepping up to take all of that damage, and Kuru can run all the way to the bank, smiling as Crazy Lagoon. They manage to catch Iceborne off guard, and the adjustment is absolutely perfect. This time round, they bring in the Pam, and they have that Byron. We talked a little bit about this as to how, if you have that Byron in that midsection of the map, in this first gem fort, you should be able to really hold it down. But you pointed out a really good point, Victor, that Byron needs to be played masterfully, and I think that's exactly what he did.
Exactly, like, yeah, that's why Byron is always very, very strong in gem grab rounds if played to perfection, and that's exactly what we saw here. Byron stays on the gem spawner there, constantly collecting gems as they come out, but at the same time is not only pressuring the enemy team by sending long-range shots against them, but also healing any of his teammates there. They're attempting to move up at the same time, and that's pretty much the way to win out rounds when you have a Byron on your team. You have to be able to play these multiple roles here and just constantly juggle around these responsibilities. So very well done there, and especially given the fact that, you know, the previous strat of Diaz using the Rosa Ems actually did work out well. I think this certainly is put a really interesting twist right now to this matchup here, because it's right now Iceborne that's facing a lot of trouble now in this first map.
Because Iceborne continuously brings in the exact same lineup, allowing Crazy Lagoon to make these adjustments. I mean, I think round number 2 was where Crazy Lagoon kind of realized, oh, wait a minute, are they going to be playing this one-trick pony all the time? So I'm expecting Iceborne to make the adjustments finally in this next matchup, because if they don't, Crazy Lagoon's already found that solution to this problem already, right? And I think Ems being sent up on that right-hand side to take Sandy out from the get-go was the perfect play. And, you know, Ems just continued that pressure up forth, right? And Sandy just could not pop out that sandstorm, which just proved to be such a huge problem in those previous rounds. This time, it looks like Crazy Lagoon just knew exactly what they needed to bring in, and with Pam bringing in so much of long-range engagement from that left-hand side to support the Byron as well, that was a two-way communication between them, was just perfection. And now let's just see exactly what they bring through this time around. Kuru will be playing that Genie, and it looks like Miria onto the Ems will be able to pressure the rest off. It will be the B down there on that right-hand side in the hands of Wahoshi. Mopi with the distance will be able to shut him out of the equation. And now the target will be Kuru. Will Miria be able to pressure them off? Yes, they hold on for their dear lives. Miria, one more shot on him will be able to take him out of the equation. B instead, that B super effective in terms of the damage.
Yeah, very well done there to place those shots there and finally to win out the battle. So as a result, Crazy Lagoon is holding the majority of gems right now. That Genie is very, very rich right now, and Aaron wants to steal a little bit of those gems away from him. They managed to steal the gem spawner from Crazy Lagoon though, having been able to move up, especially with the B being out of commission that time. But look at Miria though, he's already moving up to try to get into the backdoor position again. So Iceborne's gonna have to watch out lest they're gonna get caught out by the pincer movement again. So that's why you're seeing Rohe and Aaron moving back very defensively there, because they know that without anything, it looks like Mopi managed to catch them a little bit off guard there, tries to get in and does get the kill onto B. Now Ed's gonna move forward here, tries to get a kill onto Aaron, just one more shot. Yes, he gets the last shot just in the nick of time. Look at that.
What a master play by Kuru! This VP Crazy Lagoon, they start and they will end the countdown. Nobody's gonna be able to catch Kuru, but Rohe just flies forth, unable to pull it off. Crazy Lagoon, they did it. They reverse it out and they shut down Iceborne. What in the world just broke down, Victor? I tell you, I've never seen Genie being played that well so far in the competition. This guy just absolutely wrecked Iceborne.
Wow, that was incredible. I mean, the coordination there, though, because the moment they saw the opening there, they went straight for it. And unfortunately, that reversal just completely caught them off guard. They didn't expect that the B was going to be able to come back in very, very quickly there. And wow, I mean, you imagine that. I mean, you just literally spawned back in after having caught out like that, and you just came back and completely swept the other team. You can imagine the adrenaline high that must be going on in Crazy Lagoon's lineup at this point now, because because, man, what a way to start off the series.
This is a potential 5-set matchup. So, of course, next we move on into center stage. And will Iceborne be able to take literally the center stage this time around? I don't know. Are they going to be that one-trick pony? Once again, you come in with one single lineup and Crazy Lagoon will find 10 different ways to beat the living life out of you like they've already proven in this first set already. And I think Iceborne has woken up a little bit already. I mean, Victor, you mentioned it when you saw those names on screen moments ago. We saw them in Season 1. What a fearsome team they were in Season 2. All of those fangs, those claws seem to be a little bit blunt this time around.
Maybe a bit worn out, but you can even see that as well from like the favorite bands and picks from Iceborne. You know, you can clearly see that they don't seem to prioritize a lot on the new brawlers, and I think that could be indication about their approach to the game, in that maybe they're a little bit inflexible, and it can be a bit of a death sentence actually, especially at this level of competition, because you cannot really afford to be stuck with only the same ideas round after round. You always have to be adaptable. You have to be very, very dynamic. And you always have to, be able to, make the split second decisions, split second actions that really change the fortunes of the game. So, well done though to Crazy Lagoon. I mean, I certainly didn't expect them to be able to sweep this first map the way they did just now, especially going off of that first round performance. But it seems like even though it was off to a shaky start, Crazy Lagoon finally brought it home in the end.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, that's exactly what Brawl Stars is all about, right? Yes, you do have, a certain perfect lineup, a certain perfect composition to bring into some of these maps, but you can't just stick on to that one specific play all throughout the time, especially when you are in a competition of this level, just like you've mentioned, Victor, because of the adjustments that your opponents will be able to bring in. And like what we've already seen from the side of Crazy Lagoon, initially, they kind of brought in a composition which they weren't super confident about, right? They couldn't take that fight up against the Pam. At the end, the solution that they had was, you know what, let's play the Pam ourselves and get a little bit of that ranged attack. Let's bring that Byron in, let's shake things up a little bit, and then finally, let's just bring the Punisher in for the shutdown in that final 4th round. And I think they've just been doing every single thing right. Iceborne, on the other hand, I've had my questions in the competition so far as to what actually happened to this team in comparison to Season 1. And I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head. They're stuck in time. They are not really moving ahead with the meta. They're not really moving ahead and catching up with the rest of these teams. It might have been enough to qualify in here for the ESL Mobile Challenge, but not for the playoffs, my friend. I think they need to step it up. But I think with experience and what we know of them, we can expect exactly that for Brawl Ball.
Yeah, I think like it's still, at the end of the day, mechanically speaking, they're still a very, very strong team. So it's just really a matter of like strategic decisions that didn't really work out in that first map. So I would still say their chances are still very, very good, even coming into the second map, despite that loss. I think really the main advantage that Crazy Lagoon is just going to have from this point is going to be mostly psychological. But again, Brawl Stars is really a game of confidence. You know, if you lose that confidence, you can lose games, just literally like water going through your fingers. So again, coming off of that high, off that first map there, I think it's definitely going to help Crazy Lagoon a lot going into this Brawl Ball matchup. But over the course of this best of 5 here, it's definitely going to be a test of their endurance here. So let's hope they can still keep things very, very fresh, going to these future rounds.
Yeah, and once we move on in towards, I mean, let's break down a little bit about what can be expected next, right? Because as we move on into Brawl Ball center stage, the pace of the matchup is going to be so much more faster. And I think we can move on with the exact same setup that you've already talked about, the double tank as well as a healer setup. But instead, it looks like Wahochi is going to be going in here for the finisher. He's got the assassin on setup. Miriam instead will be bringing in the Ems, the genie on play for the side of Kuru. He needs to aim this pull in at the very specific moment, but Molpi will be able to win his fight out there and make this a 3-2. Rohe with the pressure. They should be able to take Miria out of the equation as well. And Wahochi, he's just trying to put a little bit of pressure from the back. Oh, no goal. And the defense will just be too easy. Miria right back in there in the nick of time, Victor.
No, that was very, very dangerous, especially when Ryohei was able to get his shadow forms out there. So that could have all very goal there. Fortunately, to clear the ball out of the way, and now it's in the center field. Now the Sandy's going to be able to bring a Sandstorm, but it still aren't able to use that to be able to move up forwards though, as they can't quite nail down the other members of Crazy Lagoon who are just hiding inside the grass. So the Sandstorm has already passed. They aren't able to take advantage of that position there, and looks like we're going to be back to square one.
Well, it is just this situation where they're not able to decide whether they go in for the pressure onto the left or right, but Ryohei just goes in for the jump, pulls out the shadow as well. Miria getting chased down. Ryohei just going in for the slice. Aaron will be able to shut down Miria from afar, and now going in for the shutdown onto Kuru as well, but Kuru with a great response. The Crow taken out, and now from the back, Kuru does manage to take Ryohei out as well, but Ems just on that respawn in the nick of time. Like you said, Victor, still back and forth, but now 50 seconds on the clock. Who's got to take this goal? It's gonna be Wahochi moving up with the ball. This is gonna be pressure plays. The hook maybe from the side of Kuru. Let's see if it happens, and yes it does. He shuts down Aaron.
Oh boy, the goal is very wide open. They lose the last defender. I think that's goal. Pretty much, that is it. Great Lagoon scores the first one, and with 25 seconds left in the next one here, Iceman doesn't have a lot of time to get a reply in, so we could be seeing Crazy Lagoon just win this by default.
Oh, and I think this was just played so well. And now Wahochi backing away. But is it going to be enough time? And it needs to be Kuru who stands up. He doesn't. And the goal is scored with 5 more seconds on the clock. And this is just gonna be a draw. But now into overtime. 1 more minute thrown onto the clock. The ball on the side of Icebarn. Will Ryohei be able to touch this? Wahochi holding him back. He can't go in for the shutdown just yet. But Kuru, he can pull it off. And here comes that Sandstorm respawn. Ryohei unable to touch the ball still. They've managed to shut down Miria already. 1 good pass up. But that seems to be botched up. Ryohei, can he reach the ball? He does manage to get it. And the goal is scored. Beautifully played, but I think it was just a little too last minute from the side of Icebarn. That's just been first round.
He's gotta be really anxiety-inducing there, especially that last few seconds to go, because, you know, once the obstacles gets cleared out in overtime, you literally have to be able to stand your ground. And boy, oh boy, especially without any healers there, it was a very risky position going into that final round, especially when it's the Sandy got her Sandstorm. Once she did that, basically, like, there's a whole swath of the map that, you know, it's the entire Crazy cannot play in, because they cannot see where the opponents are. They can't shoot, they cannot target them, and they even have no idea what to do about the ball even. So them being able to use it, Sandstorm was just perfect timing there, because not only were they able to just completely catch Great Lagoon in a very awkward situation there, but the cherry on top was just them getting the stun onto the Terra and then shooting the ball literally past them, you know, just literally crossing across the field there and straight into that goal. Very well done there from Icebarn's side.
Yeah, I thought, you know, the one final kick towards the goal might have just been botched up, but they managed to play their path really well. Like what you said, man, they managed to throw the stun, and, you know, everything was just pinpoint perfection. They timed it really well as well from the side of Icebarn. But the question is this yet again gonna be the perfect setup for the side of Icebarn? And the big question is, it's going to be the only setup from the side of Icebarn, because we saw the one-trick pony on the first map we had here at Gemfort. That really didn't do them that much well. Crazy Lagoon, they found the answer for it a little bit, and then from then on, they kind of bagged that whole set for themselves. And this might just be a similar setup. But of course, Icebarn, they now can run away with this victor. Let's see exactly what happens in this next matchup. But once again, man, the first match, absolutely clean from the side of Crazy Lagoon in terms of defense, except for those final moments.
Yeah, even the goal that they kind of conceded was really because of a very well-timed attack coming from Icebarn's side, which, you know, can even take down the best teams in the world. But I think what kind of hurt Icebarn as well is just the response time between them getting the kills and then bringing the ball to the goal. I think that actually kind of affected them a little bit. I felt they could have been definitely a lot faster in getting that turnaround, especially in that last round. But nevertheless, let's see how they are able to perform with this new refresh. It looks like they're going to be using the Sprouts this time around. This is going to be interesting.
And I just wonder exactly which particular pathway is the Sprout going to be blocking off. But that super is definitely going to come in handy, man. I mean, we're talking about buying yourself precious seconds in terms of a defense for those final moments, right? But the Sprout gets taken out, and now Icebar just walks the ball in. I guess that's one way to deal with the Sprout.
No, but I just feel that was a misplay by Crazy Lagoon. They shouldn't let the Sprout be all the way pushed back from there, because there's very little thing the Sprout can do from that kind of distance. So looks like they're going to try to go again very aggressively in front. Oh, that could be very close, but fortunately they were able to take down the Sandy. Look at that Sprout completely alone. All the Shadow Forms came out at the same time. Now the Terra is going to be able to come out here. Needs to be able to defend, though, because there's no obstacles in the way. But finally, the last Shadow Form does get taken down. So the kind of window for Iceman attack is already passed now, but now they're still going to try to go in aggressively to get a double elimination. Can they get a goal scored inside? He's going to wait a little bit, spins it around. No, that's a 720 goal that I can see from there. 2-0 there. That's not even close.
Icebarn this time, they hit, and they seem to be hitting pretty hard. I mean, first of all, they found the solution for the Sprout. Just goes in for the pressure play, and like you said, from that particular distance, nothing much the Sprout can do, and they just managed such a pressureful game from the start all the way down to the end. 2 back-to-back goals taken, and nothing Crazy Lagoon could do about that. It was down to the composition at the end of the day, Victor, but there's still time for them to come back in here, perhaps make a reverse sweep. I don't know, but in this set, it's still pretty much possible.
Yeah, I seriously question what they were trying to go with the Sprout here, because again, like the Sprout can only be very useful if the other 2 brawlers are going to be able to push up aggressively. But I didn't really see that here. If anything, the Tara was getting forced back a lot there.
Yeah.
So that really just further compounded the situation there, especially for the Sprout, because the Sprout he is very slow in his attacks. You know, even though he has technically a lot of range, but it takes a very long time for him to actually deal a lot of damage over time. His damage per second isn't that great compared to a lot of other brawlers. So I seriously question the kind of approach they were going here with Crazy Lagoon. No doubt, Sprout can still be very useful in this map, because once he has his super, he'll be able to block off huge parts of the maps, and that can already gain a lot of control. But if your 2 attackers aren't really aggressing as well, then your Sprout is just basically left as a sitting duck the whole time. So I will just basically chalk this up to a bit of bad strategy coming out from Crazy Lagoon. So let's hope they'll be able to repair that coming to this round.
Well, it looks like they definitely have brought in these adjustments, but the Edgar's definitely not one that they want to remove from the equation. Sandy will be brought through, but in terms of the response, it's going to be Aaron playing the Frank, and now the Frank's going in for the smash, but taken out of the equation. Molpy shut down as well. Miria making his way through right back in time, and it will be that spike play in terms of the super that slows them down, but will not be able to put them out of the equation. Miria now pulling out the Sandstorm right at the moment, and will be able to help Mahochi go in for the shutdown onto Aaron. One more shot is perhaps what they need, but the super from Aaron does not manage to catch Mahochi, and now this is the moment for Crazy Lagoon perhaps to get that goal.
They have to keep this pressure going. Good Sandstorm there by Miria one more time. That's certainly going to keep Iceborne on its own. Aaron now tries to move forward here, but the Terra is a little bit too strong there. He does get a kill done there just in the nick of time. Now the thing is that Jesse tries to get a kill done in the middle there. Molpy throws him in front, but no, unfortunately, Miria catches her out. The Sandstorm was still very much active at that time. Squeak now has total control over the left-hand side. Now takes possession of the ball. Tries to bring it up forward here, but they can't really get it through there because the obstacles are still quite in the way, especially Iceborne, who are now moving up. They've already spawned out. The Pogo is still keeping them very much alive. Trying to go for the goal, but managed to get cleared out by Rojo in the last second. Sandstorm gets sent out one more time. A Whirlpool gets out the Pogo. Now there's no heals anymore for Iceborne. All the heals are taken down. All they need is just score one little goal there. A little taunt as well, just to add the cherry on top.
Oh, what a play by Kuru, man. Now this spike is just bringing out those supers at those perfect moments. And the pressure play from the side of Kuru has just been absolute perfection so far. Sandy pulls out the Sandstorm in the nick of time once again. Miria will be able to give the side of Mopi that pressure. And one final second, Miria able to take down Mopi. And now they can't go in for that score just yet. They're holding back. They decide to play the defense. And yes, the Frank will be sent through, but Miria pulls out the Sandstorm once again, making Wahochi the absolute damage dealer. Mopi will get caught through, and yes, he does manage to pull out the Whirlpool, but absolutely ineffective. And yes, Crazy Lagoon have done it, Vector.
Woo, that was a really good round here with Crazy Lagoon. The thing was that Icebomb really changed up the lineup completely there, but I think this was the timing for that was just not quite right though, because it's the Sandy, again, very difficult to deal with, and the Frank, even though like Frank Poco normally will be a very tough thing to deal with, but I was especially very surprised that Frank was able to get some really good kills early on, and that kind of worried me a little bit, because Frank going out, getting out of control and snowballing very hard can be incredibly difficult to deal with. So huge credit there to Crazy Lagoon for being able to stabilize the fight from that point on, especially off of the back of the Sandy Sandstorms. Like definitely her placements on the Sandstorm was definitely way better, I would say, compared to what Icebomb were doing previously, because if you notice, Icebomb's way of using the Sandy was mostly limited to the center field of the map, but you know, the Sandy for Crazy Lagoon was both using it offensively as well as defensively as well, which is exactly the way you should be using Sandy's Sandstorm in the first place. So clearly Crazy Lagoon is taking it up to another level now. So I think Icebomb, they have now, this is literally their weakness here, because if they can't keep up with these kind of adaptations, they can't keep up with these kind of changes here, they're going to be left out, and I fear that might happen here if they don't buck up really soon.
Yeah, we're talking about the Sandy Super that pops out, the Sandstorm, and the perfection of placement from that Spike Super as well. It just catches the side of Icebomb off guard. And now you've got the Tara running out there, just deciding exactly when to go in for the, damage dealing moment. And Wahochi plays those moments to perfection as well, because it's that constant Sandstorm that makes him absolutely invisible out there on the battlefield and just become that little bit of troublemaker that Icebomb does not know how to deal with. But this time around, Molpi will be able to shut down that spike early. Wahochi, on the other hand, using that cactus as defense, will be able to aggress up, try to take Aaron out. One more shot will be able to do the trick, but Aaron, what a super, will be able to catch Wahochi out, and the Tara this time not as effective.
Well, the thing is, they have to capitalize on this position here. Now they get the kill onto Miria, so there's no Sandy left on the map. Spike's now trying to take control over the right-hand side. Now the Tara is back up, but now it's going to be a 3v2. Now it's a 3v2 yet again as they can't kill off the Spike on the right-hand side. So they're constantly forcing Crazy Lagoon into this very bad situation here. Now the Sandstorm is going to be brought forward here. This is going to be very tense now, because they have to literally stay themselves in front of the goalpost, but that's just allowing Aaron to do so much damage there right in front. Finally, they do take out Aaron, but the Mopi uses a slight gap there to slip that ball by, just like the thief in the night.
Oh, Molby just fighting that microsecond decision that he could make that could win over the game, makes it and absolutely snatches the moment away. And now let's see what Tara can pull off on that left-hand side, and Ryohei spotting the danger will bring that pressure play. Sandstorm not pulled out just yet, it is not time, but Miria will be able to get exactly that done and pulls Ryohei into the bag. And this is that moment for the side of Crazy Lagoon to aggress up. Aaron pulling out that super, absolutely ineffective, and it will be the spike on the side of the right, and gets that shot onto Molpi, plays the super as well, pressure onto Ryohei, taken down, and Spike the MVP of that round.
Oh my goodness, like I wonder what Aaron must be thinking at that point, because he was really far forward, but the rest of his team just wasn't there, and that isolation just allowed, just unfortunately caused his teammates to die out. That's quite a bit of damage done to the Tara though. Miria tries to catch a chase on the Ryohei. But Ryohei still wins on it again. He has a ball. He's going to be able to score it, and he spins it and taunting them, in fact. As the timer starts to run out, Miria only comes out only to see the ball flip straight into the goal. Iceman just takes it in round 4.
Ay, 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 ay. What a play. And finally, I believe it was Ryohei with the mechanical outplay, runs right over that player, confusing the living life out of him in terms of exactly where he's going to aim his next shot, and survives with a sliver of health. That he just mechanically outplayed the side of Crazy Lagoon, and I think this is exactly what Iceborne was looking for. That sucker punch. You reel them in and you smack them right on the right-hand side of their face, and I feel like Crazy Lagoon's really feeling that hitman because, on Brawl Ball, it was pretty much a one-sided matchup all throughout.
Yeah, that last match literally felt like an open-handed slap straight to Crazy Lagoon's face there. Because, I mean, how could you let Ryohei through like that? I mean, that was literally him being completely unpunished. What should have been a very punishable moment there. So, definitely a bit mistake there by Crazy Lagoon. So, nevertheless, though, I mean, what a way for this whole matchup to go, right? I mean, the first map was definitely swinging the way of Crazy Lagoon. Now we're seeing things very rapidly swinging the way of Iceborne now. So, let's put it this way. I still have no idea, even at this stage now, who's going to be able to come out on top, because it seems like these two teams are so neck to neck right now that it's going to come down to literally the details now. It's going to be down to who makes the fewer mistakes, who makes the better plays now. So literally this is going to be a literal head-to-head competition now between Crazy Lagoon and Iceborne.
Yeah, and this particular matchup between the two, we expected it to go all the way, right? Potentially all the way down into set number 5. We have a confirmation. It will be the 4th set, so Ring of Fire will definitely be played. Hot Zone yesterday was missed. We did not have the opportunity to go over there thanks to 2 teams that wanted to take those 3-0. But now, I want to see a little bit of hope for some assembly required as well. Purple Paradise, we saw the mechanical outplay over in that final matchup on center stage. Will we once again see the side of Iceborne outplay Crazy Lagoon in the next map? Because it's all out in the open, and one basic mistake can literally give that match away.
Yeah, this is going to be all about precision here. So I think, especially given the way that Iceborne's been playing, if they can actually use their pressuring tactics very, very well here, that can actually work to their advantage. Because if they can cause Crazy Lagoon to miss his shots a lot more often, that can certainly make the bounty round a lot more difficult than it needs to. But yeah, this is again going to be a lot more wide open, so it's really going to be a battle of mechanical skill here. And I think that Iceborne in this case should have the advantage, but again, I thought they would have the advantage going to map number 1, but look at me. I'm literally eating my foot right now.
Well, let's see if or not they will perhaps drop this and make you eat both of them, right? The Tick mirror is there. We see the Piper mirror as well as the Byron in here. Sorry, is that a bell? Yeah, I think it is going to be a equal matchup on both sides. It's all going to be about those mechanical plays. Let's see who manages to get those aims placed better.
Yeah, again, it's just all going to be about the aim, all going to be about the timing. Ooh, that looked like very, very close there for Iceborne's Piper there. Molpy almost gets caught out. Ryohei gets targeted. That's going to be a kill there already. So is that going to open up the floodgates though? Crazy Lagoon are peeling back, so they're trying to bait Iceborne to move up forward to aggress here, but Iceborne doesn't seem to be taking the bait that well. But finally, they are moving up enough here to hopefully force things to happen here to get a couple of trades out. But still, Crazy Lagoon still has a huge advantage in stars right now, so they're still able to hold their own even at this point now. So 10 stars right now to Iceborne's 4. There's a lot of ground here for the red team to catch up on.
Yeah, but the worst possible brawler now, holding on to a majority of those stars on the side of Crazy Lagoon, right? If you go ahead and drop this stick out of the equation, it's going to be a GG. But the question is, how's the setup going to come out from the side of Iceborne? Come on, Mahochi, that's illegal. And now the super being brought out. Is Miria going to be caught? No, he's not. Looking for Mahochi! He gets Mahochi! And now this is 11-12. Iceborne, one more takedown. They should be able to bag this, turn things around, and now they cannot make a mistake. Aaron needs to back away. One more shot in here. Moby gets shut down. 14-11. Crazy Lagoon still manages to bag it.
Oh, that's just so hard there. I mean, again, Iceman just needed to get one kill, only just that one kill, and they could have actually turned this around here. But I think like them being a little bit spread out there really just worked against their advantage there. So. That could have been so close there. I mean, it's so frustrating to even watch that kind of situations there, because you know exactly what the condition for victory was there, but just Iceman just misses it just by that little bit there. Oh, I can only imagine how the players are feeling right now.
Yeah, I kind of think that, you know, that bro, because the tick bomb was absolute perfection. They took Wahochi out of the equation already, but there was just no follow-up. There was no pressure play, because the tick was definitely going to be able to find someone. The tick should not be finding Piper. That's the worst, but possible target that the tick can find. But the tick just kind of just scrims over Piper. But it was the follow-up that just wasn't there. Yes, Wahochi got taken out of the equation, but they desperately needed one more star on their side, and by the time they decided to go in for those pressure plays, it was just way too late, right? The tick kind of respawned right back through, and they managed to just play it all the way back in a defensive stance. So I think in terms of composition, both teams obviously had the right idea getting in here. In terms of mechanical plays, I kind of feel they matched up against each other quite well, but let's see exactly what happens. I think they're going to go in with yet another mirror matchup, and we might just be able to see a tie at the end of round 2.
I would be slightly disappointed actually if they go for a mirror matchup, because again, it just means that there's not going to be much difference between the two of them strategically speaking. So it's just going to be down to who nails better shots. But by the way, it's not the tick. I think it's actually the Nani that they're playing in this round here for both sides. So Nani is a little bit different to Tick in that I think he actually has more direct control over the super. So that's why you can see Nani was very smart in the way they use the super. Instead of just directly making a beeline straight towards the brawler, you actually try to go the long way around, just try to avoid the other brawlers. So that way, literally, once Nani saw the super headed to its way, there's nowhere for him to run. There's nowhere for him to go. He just had to accept his fate at that point.
Thank you for that, buddy. I absolutely got that one wrong, but let's see if or not Wahochi will be able to play that to perfection once again. Okay, going in for those pressure plays. Absolute mirror once again. I know you're a little disappointed here, Victor, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. They should be able to show us a little bit of perfection. Blue Star on the side of Crazy Lagoon, but stolen away by Icebarn as they drop Kuru out of the equation.
So the thing I worry about of Crazy Lagoon, the kind of playstyle, is that every time they get an advantage in stars, they immediately pull back. They actually concede the ground there to Icebarn, and I think that's a very risky thing to do, because once you give them map control, it's very easy for them to overwhelm you. So I think it's only lucky they're still able to get the kill into Piper, so that actually forces Icebarn now to fall back, but now they lose to Nani as well. So in terms of stars, Icebarn still has advantage, especially because they have the blue star in hand. Now the Nani's going to be able to send his super in front. Ryohei gets the kill onto the Piper now, so it's going to be 10 stars of 5. That's only going to further compound the problem now for Crazy Lagoon, because they haven't really done well here to maintain control over the map here, and now Icebarn is literally stepping all over them.
Yeah, so this is something that we kind of just discussed, right? Mirror matchup and potentially Icebarn kind of equalizing this thing up. Because earlier in that matchup as well, it was just that one moment of misplay that caught them a little bit off guard. This time around, they played so clearly from the get-go. And on the defensive this time around, let's see if or not they can continuously put the pressure. Crazy Lagoon, they backed away a little bit too much. Wahochi needs to be able to find one now. They step up a little bit too late, but Ryohei still manages to shut down Wahochi, and then Mopi gets a kill as well. This one's all over as Icebarn wraps up strong.
Okay, not bad at all. I mean, Crazy Lagoon won the first one. Icebarn now shows them that yeah, we can definitely still win you even this kind of mirror matchup here. So, like I said, I'm thinking that it's going to be back and forth like this for quite a bit. I mean, we're just mostly seeing them do a little bit of a change in terms of where they had their brawlers lined up initially in the start. I think the Bell was on the right hand side on the first round. Now they switched it over to the left hand side this time. But I think at the end of the day, it still came down to Nani's super there, being able to use that super to get the kills immediately. It becomes like almost like an instant win in that sense, because it's very difficult to counteract that super when the homing missile is literally aimed right at you and it's literally in direct control of the player. So yeah, right now Iceban having a moral victory here, but can they still keep it up though?
Well, they are going in for the exact mirror once again, just going all the way down to those mechanical plays. At the end of the day, we kind of understand exactly why they would want to do this, right? Because this is the best way to take this ranged battle. Yes, Bell will be taking that one-on-one against Aaron. Miria with the pressure play will be able to depend on a little bit of backup from Kuru, and of Iceban, they instead lose Molpy, and now Aaron falls as well, and looks like Crazy Lagoon are taking this battle to Iceban and stealing, running away with it.
This is a smart way of taking the blue star without actually going for it, isn't it? Oh, that's almost an attempt there. The Piper's life. Good shot there by the Bell, though. But Mira is going to be able to move up, tries to get another shot on Aaron, but Aaron dodges it just in the nick of time, though. But that certainly was very, very close for him, for sure. But with 6 stars in hand right now, I mean, Crazy Lagoon just literally are baiting Iceban to try to fight them here. But Iceban, getting a little bit too close to the sun there. They lose both the Piper and the Bell in one fell swoop. 44 seconds left right now. I think Crazy Lagoon pretty much will have this in the bag now.
Yeah, it's pretty impossible to make a comeback in here unless they can drop Miria, Kuru, and Wahochi back to back. And looks like that's exactly what they are aiming for, but Ryohei needs to be really careful. No super on him, but what can Molpy do? Yes, this Piper can go through, but unfortunately forced to use that super. And no, Crazy Lagoon won't be able to run away with it, and Iceban cannot do anything at all.
Whoa, okay, I gotta admit, like, I usually kind of question Crazy Lagoon's strategy of pulling back there, but this really worked out well for them. Now, Iceban is just desperate to try to claw it back, but there's only so many stars you can get within 10 seconds, though, so that still is going to be a win there for Crazy Lagoon, and certainly they're showing that they're actually already adapting very well to their opponents here. It feels like they almost have them under their thumb, under the try to hold that match there. Like, that's a very unprecedented level of control that they're having over this matchup right now. So Crazy Lagoon definitely in the one of the best positions I've seen them be in so far in this matchup.
Yeah, and once again, the Nani just continuously being the problem maker, but unfortunately for the side of Iceban, they just could not use the Nani to perfection, right? The supers just weren't really finding their, opponents, and even when those supers were hitting, they weren't really getting those kills. No capitalization coming through as well. They do have the distance, but it's going down to those communications, because earlier on we did see exactly when, the Nani super was pulled out, those pressure play was being pulled off by the side of Iceban. They were playing the mid segment of that map a little bit more, so it's quite concerning as to why they're not really getting that done once again. But this has to be the moment they pull it off, or else Crazy Lagoon will be running away with this matchup. It looks like it's going to be a similar mirror once again. Bell taking the fight up, this time on that left-hand side. Aaron needs to win all of these fights. Initially gets those shots, but Miria very smartly backs away, allowing Kuru to pick up the pieces, but Kuru falls. Miria gets taken down by Molpy as well. Molpy with a double 1-8 play by Iceban.
That was perfect timing there for Iceban. I mean, the same time they went for the star was the same time that both Ryohei and Aaron were attacking, so they really caught Crazy Lagoon in a very good timing battle there, and that allowed them to now take the lead. So it's just going to be about maintenance from here. Oh, that's going to be a good shot there by the Nani to take down the Piper, so immediately that lead now is handed over to Crazy Lagoon here. But with Iceban keeping things close here, at least it's going to be a much closer fight, I hope, at least coming into this fourth round here. But with Crazy Lagoon peeling back a little bit, they lose out the Bell once more here. The Piper and the Nani now tries to move forward here to try to force Iceban to able in order to fall back, and it looks like they were successful in doing that by the time Miria comes back out from spawn.
Well, Wahochi will be looking for a super ban. Oh! Super hit from the Nani on the side of Iceban. Ryohei doesn't get the kill, and Wahochi walks out of there with a sliver of health. Now, he does manage to get the top up right back in there. Shots not landing onto Ryohei. Ryohei fires back, and Kuru cannot provide the support. Crazy Lagoon manages to get a double takedown, and it looks like 11 to 10. Mopi will be able to strike back. Aaron, he jumps right through. Can they now win this at those final seconds? 15 more seconds left to go in here.
Oh, that Lani was so lucky to survive that last attack there, but finally puts in the final blow there. 14 points now to Iceban. Now Crazy Lagoon is going to have to move out forward here to try to go for the kill, but look at that. Iceban immediately scatters and forces the round now to go to their side. Very well done for Iceban this time around.
Oh, solid plays, man. I mean, both teams coming out strong, and at the very final moment, for the first time in here today, we are getting pushed into round number 5 in a set. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Purple Paradise truly has been quite a delight to watch. Both of these teams, you know, in terms of the mechanical capabilities of taking this fight up against each other, they've been doing amazing so far.
Yeah, very well done there for Iceban. I mean, the thing was that the Crazy Good was actually quite in the element already. I felt by the time we got to the third round, but I think Iceban finally, I think things actually finally clicked there for Iceban. But it's just surprised me it took them this long before they were able to take control of the match, because I felt that they gave that control to Crazy Goon a little bit too much in the earlier rounds. But you know, despite the shaky start though, with them finally actually bringing it home here, and then now possibly forcing us to a 5th round decider here. I mean, man, it just goes to show this is a very tight match between these two guys here. So again, I think right now, like, Iceban is already starting to get a lot more comfortable in this matchup here, which could spell a bit of trouble, I feel, for Crazy Lagoon. So let's see if Crazy Lagoon is going to be able to mess that up though, because so far it's still going to be a mirror matchup yet again.
Yep. And the mirror matchup just will not be changed. But this Nani, Wahochi has to evade and pulls that evasion absolutely perfectly. But now Iceban with a 1 blue star on their side. Can they run away with this? I highly doubt it, because the moment they ease off on that pressure, we will be able to see Crazy Lagoon take the fight up instead. Now Kuru getting the shutdown onto Mopi. Don't even know how he managed to get that done. But Nani! What a well-placed steal with the super, and Peep gets that hit done. Ryohei, what a takedown!
He was trying to go for the bell initially, but the bell was like, nope, it was a little bit too fast for that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna cancel. I'm gonna go for the Piper instead. Then Piper brought the super, and it's like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? Then Piper came down just in front of him. It's like, oh, well, I'm just gonna go for it then. Well done there, though, for the Nani, but that's only enough to tie it up for now.
Yeah, the problem is Wahochi sent down. Wahochi almost taken down by the Peep again. I mean, Ryohei is playing those supers absolute perfectly. And now Kuru manages to pull out the super to save his life. But when he lands, he doesn't get to aim. He gets shut down once again. But Crazy Lagoon, they still have got the numbers on their hand. And Kuru has been playing quite a stellar gameplay in here so far. Miria holding down to the lines. But Aaron with those pressure play will be trying to take him out of the equation. Wahochi now with the pressure on the right-hand side as well. 10 to 7, 15 seconds on the clock, Vector. What needs to be done?
They have to be aggressive. They have to do it now or never. But the thing is, it's only 3 stars. They just need to get 1 kill, and they have to focus on they get it on Miria. This is in time now. Piper tries to go in front, but loses life in this process. The Nani also gets taken down. Whoa, my goodness. Iceban in one fell swoop just completely takes it from Crazy Lagoon just in the final seconds there. Man. Oh my goodness.
Fantastic plays on the Nani. Sorry for thinking your Nani is a tick. I don't know. Maybe I didn't sleep enough today. But, you know, but either way, stellar gameplays from both of these teams, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we kept seeing exactly how much of pressure the Bell can play. And although the Bell can be a absolute, you know, tyrant in a matchup like this with the distance as well as the damage that's being, you know, so easily dealt, it's very easily reversible because you have a Nani on your side. The downside is Nani with that HP not really able to aggress up forth, so the timing as well as when those supers are pulled out, really important. And when you pull it out, you really need to hit. And Ryohei managed to get that done time and time again. And that was essentially the winner for them.
But again, I think I would still chalk this up to kind of Crazy Glue's play style in these bounty rounds, because they always follow the same pattern. It's like every time they move up the center of the map, they go ahead and go for those pokes. But once they already get the leads and stars, then they immediately start to pull back a little bit. And I kind of feel that's usually a big mistake to do, because you always want to be able to meet your opponents in battle, right? But if you keep pulling back like that, okay, no doubt it's going to make it more difficult for your opponents to hit. But eventually you're going to find yourself your back's up against a wall. Now granted, Miria was using this a lot throughout the match here to try to avoid getting shot as a bell, just using the grass that's at the wall side there to kind of dodge a lot of projectiles, and that actually saved his life quite a few times there. But I just feel that conceding that ground there just gives them a lot more control, concedes them too much control over the Iceborne. It just allows them to formulate a much better strategy. It gives them a positional advantage, no question about that. So again, I still kind of question that aspect of the way Crazy Glue has played this matchup here. But overall, I would still say it was a very close one, like incredibly tight between the two of them. I mean, it basically came down, just like I said, it came down to either mistakes or just incredible plays there, especially on that Nani's homing missile.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, let's see if or not we will be able to see Ryohei hit shots like that time and time again, because this is not over between the two. Yes, we do see the side of Iceborne having 2 of these sets already. Crazy Lagoon still has 1. And if Crazy Lagoon manages to bag Hot Zone as well, then we are going to be getting set number 5, and we will be able to see some assembly required. But the question here is, will Iceborne now allow that to happen? Because Iceborne, they've kind of been struggling in the competition overall, right? Kicks, the Lil Moya G, Zeta Division, they have been the bane of Iceborne's existence. But in the past days, in the past 2 play days, Asphyxia and Team Flash, those have been the moments where Iceborne have been able to kind of find their momentum, and to take a 3-0 against Team Flash, I think that kind of says a lot here.
I mean, it definitely just still says to me that Iceborne can definitely fight their way out of even the toughest kind of situations. But it's just surprising that they're even struggling against a team that like Grizzly Goon, where it's just kind of evenly matched across the board for a lot of these rounds. So though granted, like this map pool here is a little bit more, I would say, mechanically focused in the early stages here, but then now it's going to be all about strategy here. So let's see how this kind of plays out here, because I have a feeling that Iceborne may have a little bit more to offer when it comes to strategic and tactical plays here. So let's see how that unfolds.
Well, the Tara being pulled out by Wahochi once again. Those masterful plays will be very effective, especially with those shadow clones. But as we can see, it's a mirror matchup in terms of that Byron in that mid segment. Yes, the M's will be brought out, and Miria shuts down Aaron. Looks like the Tara on the side of Iceborne not as effective. And now Byron needs to be able to pull this shot as well. They have been just playing in these, outskirts of this, not really touching the hot zone just yet. And I'm afraid this might just allow the side of Iceborne to run away with the matchup, Victor.
Yeah, they haven't really put a lot of pressure onto that Byron, though. It's only until now that they're able to force him up in the hot zone. But look at Aaron, though, moving very forward, takes out the M, now rapidly moves up against the Byron here, forcing the entirety of Crazy Lagoon to hug onto the right-hand side. Miria tries to move out in front, but it's still requiring a little bit of backup here. Aaron is able to suck him completely within the vacuum there, takes out the Miria yet again, almost takes out the Byron as well. Now it's going to be up to Volpe to put in the finishing blow, but still Ryohei that gets a kill in the end. Look at Aaron, though, he's still able to get a second vacuum, takes out Anthony up team time right now, and Crazy Lagoon just nowhere to be found right now on that hot zone. It's not even close.
Oh, Mr. P's just being so annoying! And I tell you, that little robot all out there on the battlefield. I mean, I'm sorry, Aaron, but Mr. P was the MVP, okay? That was perfect place on the right-hand side. I mean, okay, Byron was absolutely stellar on that mid segment of the map, really playing the objective, right? But it was all about that flank, and Mr. P just dealing so much of damage, just annoying that right-hand side, not allowing that player to kind of, make much of an impact in the game at all, and just kind of left the side of Icebarn to do anything that they wanted. Crazy Lagoon, I didn't really expect them to play the matchup in that way because it didn't seem like they were losing a lot of their battles. In fact, they could have played the hot zone in a couple of those moments there, but they chose not to.
It was just those back-to-back deaths there from Miria, up against Ryohei's Tara. Like him getting the vacuum 2 times in a row there. I mean, Ems shouldn't have been caught out like that because you still need the Ems in a big way in these kind of maps where you have the Ems' attack, has covered such a wide area that, losing her from that flank means that you're just basically losing the entirety of your left lane. So yeah, I mean, on the one hand, yes, Mr. P was literally on fire on this round here, but I think the Ems on Miria there just really wasn't working out in this round here. So I'm not sure the best approach would be to change it out, or perhaps maybe to kind of like change the positioning a little bit. But if they can fix that I think Crazy Goon should have a better chance coming into this future round.
Yeah, I'm just curious of whether or not Mr. P is going to be brought in once again because, it's a really effective brawler if you've got your mechanical plays to the T, right? Because you really need to hit those briefcase throws, and I feel like he was doing exactly that. It was mechanical supremacy from the side of Icebarn, which Crazy Lagoon has shown us they will be able to match up with. But the question is, are they going to go in here with a mirror matchup for the next game, or are they going to be bringing in a little bit of a solution? Because let's talk a little bit about the adjustment for that Byron in that mid segment of the map, right? They already have a Byron mirror matchup. It's just that the hot zone wasn't really being played, and it's understandable why the hot zone wasn't being played because Byron wouldn't have been able to have that backup. The right and left flank, they were just losing those matches time and time again, and you kind of call it out right? If they don't really find those flank situations, well, I think the Byron still should be brought in, but they have to find the solution for the left and right hand side flank, Victor.
Yeah, and you can see that without the M's and without them actually fighting the right hand side there, I mean, essentially what happened was that the Byron was from Icebarn was just basically able to stay on the hot zone completely unopposed. Yeah. There was no pressure being placed on him at all that allowed him to capture that hot zone without much resistance. So that's absolutely what they should not allow happen in the first place. But I would just say that they losing those fights, so they have to basically win those fights on the flanks. There's no question about it. Yeah. If the Byron has no support, it's basically quite useless having him over there in the first place. So you don't get the value from the Byron if your 2 flankers are not in position to actually support him. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, and a little bit about the Tara as well. She really needs that range to get close down, right? Further away, the damage is really not going to be making that much of a difference as well. So I think it was more of a composition sort of a adjustment that Crazy Lagoon needs to focus in here on the next matchup, which I think they will be able to do exactly that. If anything, they've been able to prove taking this fight up against Icebarn has not been easy, but every single step of the way, they've been able to match up, right? I mean, look at this. We are in match number 4, and I think they should be able to pull one back. But if they don't in this next matchup, then I'm afraid it might just be over because Icebarn, I think they will be trying to finish this, or they will be trying to finish this off as quick as they can, Victor.
Yeah, hopefully your tongue doesn't get too twisted now because, well, ladies and gentlemen, they're bringing out a Poco and Pam this time around, together with the butler, the robot butler himself, Barley. So this is going to be interesting. Let's see if this is going to work out for Crazy Lagoon.
Oh, perfect. Look at Mr. P. Look at Mr. P. He's going in for those bounces just on, the corner of that hilt there. And Bali's just sneaking under them. Robo P gonna be coming out. No match for this little Bali. Oh, one more shot in here. Mo P shuts down Kuru. And that's the kind of pressure play that Iceborne will be looking for. But from the get-go, it was Crazy Lagoon that picked up a majority of those hot zone points, right? So this adjustment that's coming through seems to really be working on their favor.
For now, though, but it looks like Iceborne already knows how to deal with it here. Look at Mulpy, so aggressive in front right now, trying to take down the Pam. Pam now just only healed a little bit. Oh, but Mulpy still gets killed in the end, though. Now Myriad tries to go out in front to bring the heals, but only a little bit too late, though. Now it's going to be completely exposed to both Aaron as well as Ryohei. That's going to be a very dead Poco on the hot zone right there and then. And now Pam and Barley are both going to be completely unsupported. Now Pam's going to be soaking up so much damage. Oh, watch out from the side there. Myriad is going to be soaking a little bit of damage on his own. What he's doing there, letting Mulpy's little penguin actually do a lot of damage on him. Allows for Aaron to go up in front to take out a Poco completely. A Crazy Lagoon. What the heck have you done?
Oh, this Pam Poco combo coming through from the side of Crazy Lagoon looks like it's a perfect pressure play. And now, once again, Pam drops that turret, but unfortunately gets shut down by Ryohei. And it looks like Poco's trying to get something done in that hot zone, but absolutely shut down once again. Iceborne trying to make their play right back through in here, but it looks like Crazy Lagoon just not allowing those moments. Iceborne, 82%. They are going in here for the finisher. Poco, solo play by Myriad, not gonna be able to pull off much in here, but he needs those percentages. This is desperation out of Crazy Lagoon, but it is all over as Iceborne bags it once again.
How is Penny's turret such a huge thorn in the side of Crazy Lagoon? It just feels like they take too long to actually kill off the turrets every single time it's brought out. Oh, that's actually it's actually kind of frustrating to see that happen there, because you know that the Poco and Pam combination would have been so effective here. You know, combined with the level of heal that the Pam's turret is able to bring, and along with Poco's just insane ability to cover huge areas there with his main attack. So that was actually a little bit frustrating for me to watch, to be honest there, especially with the turret. The turret, you got to kill the turrets, man. I mean, that's practically you're handing free damage over to Iceborne through that whole battle there. So the Pam was just a little bit too distracted from trying to take down both Mr. P and Byron, that he completely left the turret unchecked, and that turret caught him out so many times. It's just wow. I think Crazy Lagoon have to really watch out for that, going to this next one here, because they were on the right idea. It's just execution left a lot more to be desired.
Yeah, I think, at the very final moments there, it just turned into pure desperation as they just were throwing bodies in towards the hot zone, trying to pull off whatever they could. And I believe Pam kind of got sucked into the exact same situation as well, right? Desperation moment, just going in there for those dives. And, but I feel like Pam was played to a certain degree quite well as well in terms of placing on that healing turret, going in there. The sustainability of that Pam is absolutely amazing, and you pair that up with the Poco, like you said, ideation in terms of bringing in that combo was really solid, but just pulling it off, it just didn't hit right for the side of Crazy Lagoon. But as they move back in here, I hope to see this combo come through once again, because I really like it, and I think that they are able to play so much more pressure. But the question is, what is that third brawler going to be? Are they going to be able to, play a little bit more damage here? Or are they going to go in here with a tank this time around, just to give them a little bit more of viability in that hot zone, right? Because we saw Bali, and Bali kind of played the range attack against Mr. P quite well. But the moment Bali started becoming a pain, we did see Mr. P try to, play the pressure onto that left-hand side a little bit more, right? So, Iceborne just making those constant adjustments that Crazy Lagoon unfortunately can't keep up with. But I really like the ideation that they've brought through in here. Hopefully it works out for them in this next round.
Yeah, again, like, this is like, for especially when you guys are playing at home there, this is why situational awareness is so important. If you see a turret out in the open there, take it out. don't let it survive. You know, it's going to be huge thorn in these kind of fights, and you can clearly see that even when you have the right kind of combination there, just letting the turret by and just dealing damage onto your brawlers is not going to allow you to win out fights. So well, so hopefully Crystal Goon has learned a lesson coming into this next round here, because like I said, the Poco and Pam should have worked out well for them here. It's just I think to a point that maybe they have to change the barley for something else, perhaps something that can actually sustain a little bit more in fights, or perhaps deal a lot more reliable damage, because the problem with barley for the most part is that his attack's a little bit too slow. If Mr. P decides to bum rush the barley, he's immediately a second duck. So let's see if they change it up. Yep, they're going to change it out completely. They're going to use Rico this time around, along with Bell actually in the middle. So they're actually changing a lot here, bringing out, I think that's the Sandy, oh no, sorry, the Jessie on the right hand side here. So Crystal Goon just going for something completely different in this round.
I don't know about this particular combo, because yes, bringing in that Rico is going to be quite effective on that left-hand side, but in terms of sustainability, it's going to be quite tough. Bell in that mid-section is great, but Aaron bringing the Crow in. Can he go in for that shutdown? Needs to play this masterfully, trying to avoid those shots, and he does! But until that one final moment, Miria able to catch him off guard. Moby, on the other hand, will be able to shut down Kuru, while Hochi holding on with a sliver of health more. But look at the hot zone and who's actually playing it. Icebarn, so solid. And with that Byron in that middle part of that map, it's going to be quite tough to shut them down.
Yeah, Miria needs to be a little bit more on point with the shots though, but I think he's doing a pretty good job actually, trying to keep Aaron at bay. The problem is he's missing the shots a little bit too much, and the Crow of Aaron is actually quite good at dodging, surprisingly, so that's actually compounding the problem from Meanwhile, on the right-hand side though, looks like Mr. P is not going to be able to play much of a factor though. Watch out though, Aaron tries to split them right in the middle. They manage to catch out a Bell, and they catch out a Rico as well.
Oh my god.
No!
Oh,
no one to contest this.
Oh, no.
I think Icebarn's gonna take the hot zone, and they do.
Oh no. Oh no. The unthinkable has just happened. And I cannot believe exactly what Aaron pulled off. For the first time, I have seen a Crow playing distraction. And they knew exactly how much of damage the Crow can bring in. But here's the thing. The fear of that Crow kind of gave Icebarn the victory. And Crazy Lagoon, they feared that Crow so much that Rico paid way too much of attention on him. So much of attention so that Icebarn, they just stood on that hot zone all throughout that matchup. And that final victory, all too easy for them.
Yeah, that jump felt a little bit too easy for Icebarn in that last bit. I really was hoping that the Crazy Goon was able to drag out the fight a little bit more, and I was slightly hoping for that when they changed out the lineup. But I think the change was a little bit too drastic. I felt they should have still stuck with the Poco and Pam. That still could have worked out there. The only thing was that they just needed to find a good answer to the Jessie that's on Icebarn's side. So they thought that, by bringing out the Bell and the Rico, that hopefully they'd be able to deal with that, but they didn't realize that the Crow was literally going to be the major counter there to the Rico and Bell play, because he can dodge very effectively, and that just completely threw Crazy Lagoon's game plan out of the window right off the bat, because when they realized they couldn't pin down a Crow, I think from that point on it was just damage control, and especially when you're going to be losing out a series like this, you don't want to be in a position where you're just trying to patch all these leads, trying to kind of like hold on while the odds are just overwhelming you. So yeah, I think that was still Icebarn, that was pretty much Crazy Lagoon's game to lose, and unfortunately that last lineup didn't quite work out for them.
Yeah. And see, here's the unfortunate situation that has kind of, put the team of Crazy Lagoon in. They don't qualify through to the playoffs, Victor. And that's just the unfortunate situation, right? But here are the highlights of the particular matchup that Icebarn just once again took against them. It was a really good attempt from the side of Crazy Lagoon, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, again, using the sandstorm a lot in this round here definitely has helped out, helped them try to gain control over that gem spawner. But I think like eventually Icebond was able to find some good fights here and there, and were able to take it back from Crazy Lagoon going into it. But frankly, the adaptations coming up from Crazy Lagoon's side was pretty great because they were able to switch out the heroes quite effectively again until they got to this Brawl Ball round. And I think this time around, Icebond was starting to show a little bit of their colors here, because it seemed like Icebond were a little bit better once they were able to find a bit of good fights here and there. And in fact, like by the time they got to the final few rounds here in this Brawl Ball, it seemed like they were practically toying around with their opponents. All right. So yeah, in any case, you know, continuing on this Brawl Ball round here, Icebond continued to dominate through and through here. So by the time we got to this bounty round here, it really became a much tighter fight here, because both Crazy Lagoon and Icebond decided to go for mirror matches, and this basically means that it came down to refinement of their plays in order to try to deal with a lot of the challenge that Icebond is bringing. But in the end, a few well-played shots there by the Piper, and superb plays coming out from the Nani. And I felt like a bit of a ground conceit coming out from Crazy Lagoon actually made it a bit more difficult for Crazy Lagoon to actually win out the fights here. So nevertheless, by the time this round kind of ended here, I mean, it was a very long, protracted battle, but it was Icebond that came out ahead.
Yeah, and you know, this was just the mechanical outplay from the side of Icebond. But you know, it was quite a good matchup. But when we moved on into the third, to Hot Zone, it was Mr. P making a majority of those plays on that right-hand side. He was just so annoying with his little robot. But you know, when that Pam was brought into the match, I felt like Crazy Lagoon could have kind of pulled that victory off, but it just wasn't played to perfection, Victor.
Yeah, and I think they got so like scared off of that lineup, that Pam and Poco lineup there, that they completely just discarded it and tried to go for something completely different. And I felt that was a bit of a mistake there from Crazy Lagoon, because I felt they should have stuck with the Pam and Poco. But you know, hindsight is always 2020, and you know, I can't really fault them for that moment there, because at that point, by that point, Icebond was already getting so comfortable in this matchup already, and that was kind of a dangerous thing to have, you know, especially at this fourth round, because by that point Icebond already really understood the kind of play style and the patterns that that Crazy Lagoon tend to go for. So they knew how to counteract it, they knew how to outplay and outmaneuver them a lot throughout the last map there. So by that point, Crazy Lagoon found themselves completely outplayed. So I mean, well played to Icebond's end, you know. Again, even though Crazy Lagoon showed definitely a lot of flexibility on their side, their ability to play different kind of brawlers here and constantly trying to change around the lineups certainly helped them a lot throughout this matchup here. But I think as time went on, Icebond, the more information Icebond started to learn about their playstyle, and also as well as their strengths and weaknesses, the more Icebond started to get more comfortable. And by the time it got to the fourth round, they were clearly in their element.
Yeah. Now, of course, it is not over yet for the side of Icebond. They make it through to the playoffs with the current setup. Crazy Lagoon, on the other hand, we have to wait for Season 3 to see exactly what sort of magic they will be able to bring in for us to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a quick short break. And whilst we set up the final set, or the final series, I have to say, for the group stages. We'll be right back.
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the wait's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up. Level up.
All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and get up. It's time, get up.
Nap time.
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up. Level up.
All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open. This is the Brawl Stars Season 2 Challengers for Asia Pacific, and you're right now at the final matchup of the final day. My name is Victor Cax, joining me here is Mustachio, and we're gonna be your commentators as we run into this final best of 5. It's gonna be David versus Goliath this time around, Asphyxia versus Team Flash. Gonna be an interesting one here, especially given that really the team that has the chance of getting the playoffs is Team Flash, so Asphyxia's job here is to see whether or not they can deny them that chance.
Yeah, and now, things are pretty much fixed up in here, Team Flash. There's no doubt whatsoever they should be able to bag a 3-0, but it's up to Asphyxia to prove us wrong. Because Asphyxia, this is a team that stepped into the competition and they absolutely stunned the crowd when they took a reverse sweep onto Crazy Lagoon. They got that 3-2, but ever since then, they haven't really been showing us the best side of themselves now, have they? Team Flash with the lineup of CZK, Response, as well as Wiggly. There's no doubt whatsoever that they will be able to punish Asphyxia if they don't show up at 100%, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the team that won the Brawl Star World Finals in 2020, so you know they're up against some serious heavy hitters here in Team Flash. But nevertheless, the Asphyxia side has been definitely a story of the underdog story of Season 2 so far. I mean, these very young, very talented players are certainly going to have their mettle tested here against one of the very best. So these are the top picks and top bans here for Team Flash. They love to play the Sprout, they love to play the Stew, they love the Dynamite as well, though it's been quite rare to see Dynamite in a lot of matchups these days, though. And Team Flash, they like to bat out the Tick and Barley, so they don't like brawlers that tend to give you a lot of area control. So it's no question that Team Flash always love to be on the aggressive all the time.
Yeah, and of course, let's take a quick peek into Asphyxia as well, right? Because we've got Humanly Tomo, Prime, Secondary, as well as Twice, with the potential of jumping on in here to the next matchup, and perhaps putting away their Senpais, Team Flash, to the side and taking one for the road, right? But if they are able to do that, it's not much of a I guess a threat to the side of Team Flash, because they still should be able to make it through. Holding on to 9 points on the board so far, they have to make sure at the very least they get 3 matches off of the side of Asphyxia, which pretty much means a victory. So I don't know. Do you think Asphyxia will be able to pull it off today, Victor, against Team Flash?
I mean, again, it's all about that first day, wasn't it, for Asphyxia? It was probably the most impressive showing I've seen for like a new team coming in. It's just unfortunate that they haven't really kept up that consistency throughout all the play days. But just because of that, I would still say they will have a chance. I mean, virtually every team here has a chance when it comes to the challengers here, because you literally have to qualify your way to get this stage. But I think like for their part though, it's literally every point is going to matter here. Every single round they're just gonna have to take it bit by bit, because they know that as long as they can just take one map away from Team Flash, that's already reducing their chances of getting into the playoffs by 50%. So wow, I mean, with those kind of odds there, you're not going to be looking so much at winning them outright. You're just going to be looking at where are the battles that you're able to take.
Yeah, okay, so Asphyxia taking Meg as well as Ash out of the equation after what we've seen the mecha form of Meg kind of, bring on into these matchups. I guess they don't want to deal with that immense pressure or burst of advantage, or in terms of damage that Meg can bring on Ash. To a certain degree, a similar situation as well. But Team Flash, they bring in the better bands, if you ask me. Brock as well as Byron. The biggest pain in terms of Brock as well as Byron is the range that they have. And Byron, we've kind of exactly how effective he is, especially in gem grab, where once you bring this guy into that mid segment of that map, he will be able to provide so much of support to the left and right hand side of the map, but be able to kind of dictate the pace as a whole. So great bans coming through from the side of Team Flash.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good ban there. That's literally going to make map number 3 very hard right off the bat. You know, you're not going to have your heals, even a gem grab round as well. You know, without a Byron, that means you're going to be very much limited to using either a Bell or Pam, even to try to go for the gem spawns. And that if you cannot really sustain the fights with those two brawlers, then you're pretty much finished actually in those first couple of maps. So yeah, I think Team Flash has already done quite well to do the bans quite well. But remember, like I said, I think Asphyxia's goal today isn't going to be to beat Team Flash outright. It's going to be about which map can they actually beat them. Is it going to be the first, second, or third? I think they probably will have the best chance in the Brawl Ball round here. But I think even a Gem Grab round, if they can somehow pull a good lineup out of there, again, Poco is still up on the table there, so they can still go for heavyweights plus Poco on the Gem Grab round if they want to, and that can certainly throw Team Flash for a loop. So let's see how this plays out. Again, I would tell the viewers at home that you're not going to be expecting to see Asphyxia win this matchup. I still feel that Team Flash will definitely win out in the long run, but it's just going to be a question of how many rounds can Asphyxia take away from Team Flash here, and how is that going to hurt their chances of getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, from the get-go itself, you see the composition coming through. CZK bringing that Sandy in. You know that Sandstorm's going to be exactly what Flash looks for. But from the get-go, it just seems to be an absolute wipeout. They even take down the defenses off of the side of Asphyxia and Wiggly Spoo. CZK bringing out that Sandstorm right now, disabling the side of Asphyxia as they come in here with the pressure play. CZK backing away in the nick of time, not falling, but twice goes in there. Will be able to drop the response, picking up the 6th gem for the side of Team Flash. And this is the kind of start that we are expecting out of the ex-world champions.
So this is really interesting because they're just basically using the Sandy play all throughout here, and it seems like they're quite even in this kind of matchup here. Now Flash is going to be forced out of the gem spawner here while Asphyxia tries to gain some control. Now Sandstorm is going to be coming out yet again for Asphyxia's side, so this is only going to further allow Asphyxia to catch up in terms of gems, so they should be able to tie it up by the time the Sandstorm finishes here. But look at that, CZK tries to move up forward there to try to kill off the secondary, but fails to actually follow through that kill. So now Responsive Wiggly Spool are going to have to pull back here, want to wait for the Sandy to come back up, but crucially going to allow the Sandy now to unleash her Sandstorm here. Now can Team Flash take over the Gen Spawner? They try to go on him twice. They do get kicked out of Sandy on the Asphyxia side, and now they have control over the Spawner. 7 gems in hand right now. They potentially could get 8, maybe even 9, so the countdown looks very imminent from Team Flash's side.
Yeah, I am just absolutely shocked to see Asphyxia kind of flow in this match really well. Because, you know, they're kind of holding back Team Flash down here to an 8-8 now. Sandy once again pulling out that Sandstorm to perfection. But CZK, will he be able to play this pressure response? That might have just been enough for them. Asphyxia looking for the final gem in here. They cannot afford any mistakes. Secondary has to back away. Prime as well. The question is, will this flank from twice be pulled off well? CZK, he calls that out. He sees that coming, and Sandy will be able to pull out that Sandstorm once again. CZK with the pressure play, try to shut down Prime out of this equation. Secondary drop, and that's it. This is game for the side of Team Flash.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to recover it from this point. Very well done from Flash's side. I mean, that Sandstorm play was just absolute timing perfection going on right over there. So, Asphyxia is going to have to try it again. But, yeah, like I said, I think they're actually quite good. Actually, this this map here. So I think that if there's going to be one map that could have the potential to take away from Flash, it could be right here, actually.
I don't know, man. I really don't know, because, you know, it was quite strong from the side of Team Flash, and they were really, I wouldn't say they were holding back, but it was quite surprising. I do have to agree with you in some parts. Asphyxia really did seem convincing, but it was the setup from CZK that seems to be so much more refined in comparison to Asphyxia and the way they play their own Sandy, right? Every single time CZK pulls out the Sandstorm, you know it is a moment where you're going to see Team Flash go in there, bag those kills, bag those gems out of the spawner, and they're going to be able to back away as well. There's just that one point where CZK did go in for the dive and make that mistake, but apart from that, the guy had pretty much a solid match from end to end. And you know, you potentially might just be seeing the MVP of multiple rounds in this CZK, in this Sandy play that he brings into this matchup, right? I see them, you know, not really going in for much of an adjustment later on, but then again, we've almost never been able to kind of pinpoint exactly what Team Flash's play is going to be in these matchups. They always know how to switch it up and how to confuse the enemies, and Asphyxia, I don't think they're going to be spared off that play.
Of course not. I mean, I would fully say that, you know, if this does go the whole 9 yards, Team Flash will still win, regardless, because it's just that the level of coordination they have on their team, the amount of experience they have between all three of the members, and combined with that, the size of their war chest. I mean, just with a lot of the other teams, much less Asphyxia, who this is literally the first season where they actually made it to the challengers, so you cannot really place that high of an expectation onto them. But I think the fact that there's not that kind of pressure for them to actually beat Team Flash that could work to their advantage. Like I said, you know, they don't actually have to go for the outright wins. They just have to find the battles they can actually take on themselves. So showing that they can still handle their own here in a Sandy versus Sandy kind of matchup, this does give me inspire a lot of confidence in me, to be honest, that, you know, that there's definitely that chance that the Asphyxia can just find a random like round or two against Team Flash here. So again, I'm rooting for them in just that regard, though. I still feel that at the end of the day, Team Flash is still vastly superior as a competitor here compared to Asphyxia. I think it's a very easy question to answer there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation that has kind of boiled down for the side of Asphyxia. We kind of had a conversation on this earlier on as well, Victor, where, you know, it's just unfortunate for them. But it's the first time. It's the first time we have set our eyes on them. And for a team that has stepped in here for the first time, in your own words, Victor, what they've managed to achieve for themselves, monumental in the competition. And on that note, look at Asphyxia, man. They start the countdown from early on. What in the world is going on?
I think we just joined the match a little bit late, though, so unfortunately we just saw the Asphyxia literally take the entirety of Team Flash's gems and just won out the round. I think we're definitely going to need a bit of a replay, actually, to break down what exactly happened there, because it just seems like, from what I could gather there, that Asphyxia and Team Flash were trading gems a lot throughout that round there, and just one really good fight there allowed Asphyxia to actually take control of all the gems all of a sudden. So well, it's a little bit awkward there that we joined in the match a little bit late, but a win is still a win, though. Asphyxia, they took the round. Yeah. Amen.
I mean, you know, but you kind of already hit the nail on the head where you mentioned where even if we do take this game all the way down to the end, the probability of Team Flash kind of bagging the victory in here is definitely that. And the repercussions of not really bagging the series, I don't really think will be affecting, you know, Team Flash all that too much, because we have to fall back down to the rules of the tiebreaker later on as well. And, you know, when we compare the head-to-head between Team Kicks as well as Team Flash has managed to win the 3-0 against Kicks early on in the competition already. So they kind of, you know, puts Team Flash ahead. They're not really in a position where they are super pressured in the competition to go out with a super good streak. But even that being said, I'm pretty sure they won the victory in here. I'm pretty sure they want to move on up to the playoffs with 12 points in the bag. And taking it up against Asphyxia theoretically should not be much of an issue. But like what we just saw at the final moments of that previous match where we jumped into, Asphyxia might be able to pull off a shocker here, man.
Yeah, so let's see whether or not they'll be able to do that yet again, though. The problem is the Crow soaked up a lot of damage that round, though, and that's allowed Team Flash to get a bit of advantage. The thing is that they've lost one of their own as well, so you're gonna have to wait for CZK to get back up to speed, though, and that's only gonna delay the Sandstorm coming out from Team Flash's side. So responsible Wiggly Spoon now forced to fall back here. Asphyxia gathers a little bit more gems. CZK gets picked up yet again there by Secondary, as the Team Flash now tries to move forward here to at least recoup some of the gems that they've already conceded there to Asphyxia, and looks like they've already tied it up now, just as CZK rejoins the fight right about now. Prime tries to take a pop shot there onto Wiggly Spoo, isn't able to complete the kill. Twice is a little bit low there. Response trying to move in to try to get a kill onto the Crow, but still isn't able to take him out just there and then. Now Response is the one going to get picked off eventually. A couple of gems on the ground there, with CZK picks it up there, allowing himself to stay 4 gems within range of Team Flash. Unfortunately, CZK gets picked up there, and Prime steals all the gems away from Team Flash from that round. So now Asphyxia has all the gems in hand. This is looking like Asphyxia might pull another surprise here onto Team Flash.
Yeah, Wiggly Spook, he needs to make a play in here. He can get that one hook, which will be super valuable, but he needs to pull specifically Prime in, but twice! The Crow goes in for the flight. Will be able to shut down Wiggly Spook, but he is immediately traded out. Asphyxia now starting the countdown. Will Response be able to do anything? Gets the speed boost, but what will he be able to capitalize with it? As CZK now aggresses on 4th, should be able to... Oh no! Does not manage to get anything out of that fight, and they should be able to bag this. Asphyxia twice in a row now pulls the victory.
Ooh, talk about styling on that. 1,000 trophies on there to get MVP. I mean, again, like I said, I already saw that Asphyxia can really hold their own in fights like these. You know, they're still very handy on the Max, they're very handy on the Sandy as well. And I think like CZK was a little bit overly ambitious, I think, in some of the moves that he made here. I mean, definitely he was putting himself on the line a lot through a lot of these fights, but I kind of feel that it could be a bit cognizant to just stay back a little bit and try to gain more control over the spawner rather than actually trying to go for outright kills. So I don't know, it does give me a sense of desperation on their side, but it really shouldn't be, because again, I feel that Flash is a strong enough team that it should be able to fight against Asphyxia even under these kind of conditions. But so far, I would say Asphyxia playing this matchup very, very well here, and if they can just keep this up, if they can actually pull up a massive surprise and actually pick up this first map, I would say the job is already pretty much done in their regard.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, but as Asphyxia, they kind of sticking on to this motto, right? Kalah tanpa style mesti ada. Overall in the competition, they have not really managed to, get much done. But as they make their exit, as they do not make it through to the playoffs, they are trying to put up one final stand in here, so we remember their name. And I think they've done quite enough so far, Victor, where we are able to recognize that they do have it in them to take this, fight up against Team Flash. Even if they do kind of bag the victory in here today, they still don't manage to get much off of for themselves. They don't make it through to the playoffs. But in terms of showing exactly what the team is capable of doing at a stage like this, I think they've managed to prove themselves already, right? Especially with the play on that Crow. I think mechanical supremacy definitely is there for Asphyxia. But for how long can they actually hold on? We're talking about Team Flash here. We're talking about the team that has been able to bring in the adjustments. Again, any team that they have, taken up this fight against, in moments where they feel fit, right? In moments where they feel like they need to bring on that aggression. This time around, it's going to be Colonel Ruff's what's going on here? I think they're waiting for a reset, perhaps. Maybe a banned brawler being brought through. Let's see.
I think it might be a
what is the
disconnection or
issue here.
something, connection issues going on here, because it seems like they're not fighting over here with some mutual agreement on their side. So I think it must be a technical issue there. That's why they're deciding not to continue the fight there. So we're gonna wait for them to remake that round. So apologies for that false start there, but don't worry, we're still gonna be coming back to this first map here. It's still not yet won by either team, though Asphyxia already has 2 points to Flash's 1. So certainly they're in a very good position to pull an upset win here in this first round. But we'll just have to wait for the remake here to see how that will proceed. So yeah. A little bit awkward, but well, life goes on.
Not as awkward as that halfway jump where we didn't even manage to see exactly how Asphyxia kind of bagged that victory, right? So I guess this one's absolutely acceptable. We want to see exactly what sort of a response Team Flash has in here, or if Asphyxia is going to be able to bag this, because because they are one win away from taking the first set for themselves. And I think that's going to be quite a great way to start the final series in here for themselves. And this is literally the final series for the whole of the group stages, as you've mentioned, as you opened up the competition for the second round, right? Team Flash taking the fight up against Asphyxia. You know, you kind of have your money on Team Flash, and I understand exactly why, Victor. Only a very, very silly man will not have his money on Team Flash in a situation like this. But Asphyxia, they kind of are shocking us with the double in here, man. Maybe, just maybe, they might be able to steal this all the way back home. Let's see exactly what they've got in here. But in terms of the composition, though, what do you feel like Asphyxia is doing right here to take the fight against Team Flash, Victor?
Just basically by not overly varying the lineup too much. I think they're just keeping things very, very tight and controlled. So at least every single fight, they know exactly what the game plan is. They don't necessarily have to kind of like throw the game plan out the window and go for something completely different. So I think that's definitely working out well, because it allows them not only to refine their tactics going into this matchup here, but also to improve the more matchups they do on the same lineup here. So again, the thing that maybe I'm thinking about is that even though Asphyxia has sustained many losses all throughout these challenges here, the one thing you got to consider is that teams will definitely learn a lot more actually from losses compared to wins. So I feel that Asphyxia has definitely grown quite a bit from the experience of playing here in challengers, that they're definitely applying a lot of that into this final, like literally the final matchup that they're ever going to have in season 2 here. So it's quite bittersweet that unfortunately that they literally are just only playing for their personal pride at this point, because there's still no chance for them to get into playoffs. But seeing them being able to hold their own against Team Flash certainly does show that this is a team that has a lot of potential. So I think this certainly it would be very exciting to see if Asphyxia is able to join us once again for season 3, because I feel that they definitely have a lot more to offer here than what we're currently seeing.
I think we might just be able to see them do exactly that, man. I mean, throughout this whole competition in the group stages, Asphyxia has, tried many a times to overcome the challenges, and the only challenge that they managed to overcome once again was on that first day against Crazy Lagoon. But they've come close, just like this matchup against Team Flash. They are coming quite close to wrapping up a big battle. Let's see if or not they can do exactly that, because to your point, it is all about that setup in season 3, right? Asphyxia, they've done quite a lot as a brand new name, a new brand stepping on into this ESL Mobile Open, and now into the challenge to show us exactly what they've got. But it's the valuable experience that you cannot find anywhere else, right? And that's exactly what the ESL Mobile is all about. That's what the ESL Mobile Challenge is all about as well. Giving you that opportunity to take these fights against some of the best in the world. I mean, literally, that's what they're doing right now, right? Taking on Team Flash, the best in the world, taking this fight up against them. And, in your words, the more ways you lose these matches, the way more you kind of learn exactly what you're not supposed to be doing in these matchups. Let's see exactly how much Asphyxia has to learn through these group stages as we jump on in to the rematch of the previous round, Victor.
Yeah, it's really good that Asphyxia recognizes the opportunity that's being given to them here, because how often are you going to be able to spar against a team that won World Finals? I mean, again, it's very valuable experience that Asphyxia is getting here, even if they don't win out this matchup here. So I think what they're going to be able to take away from this is infinitely more valuable than if Team Flash gets into the playoffs, because really that's just going to be a rehash of season 1. Team Flash has already done that once, so it's not that impressive for them to get back in again. It's only, I guess, a little bit concerning that they're even at this in this season 2 that they are at risk of losing the spot to the playoffs here from a lower bracket team. But frankly, this just goes to show the level of competition that we have here in season 2. It's very different compared to season 1. Now a lot of teams have progressed. The new patch has now really made a huge change to the meta, so that's already affected a lot of the players' play styles and their approaches to the brawlers here. So again, it's just that simple fact that if you don't adapt, you're just going to be left out in the dust.
Yeah, I mean, for me, overall, I see the progression within the ESL mobile itself, right? I think in comparison from Season 1 to Season 2, the games have definitely grown in terms of the meta as well as how the game is being played. The teams clearly have grown. Icebarn, one of those teams that have been struggling from the start, but they've managed to kind of find their momentum in here already, and they finally found their full momentum as they beat the side of Crazy Lagoon 3-1. Team Flash, on the other hand, I wouldn't say that they are struggling, but this was not the kind of run that you would expect out of, ones that have picked up the World Championship in the past, right? You would expect a little bit of, maybe the flair of the Japanese, maybe a little bit of what Lil Moya G has been showing us all throughout the competition, at least until yesterday, where they took that loss, but I'm definitely not buying it. I think, they might just be the ones laughing all the way to the bank at the grand finals, because they've shown us exactly how much of quality they can bring into the competition so far, right? But of course, Team Flash, as we are still waiting for the rematch between themselves as well as Asphyxia, we're not too sure exactly what is the technical difficulty that we're having in the background, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but worry not, that matchup should be coming up your way in a couple of seconds.
Well, hopefully really, really soon. I mean, we're still in map number 1, so even if we already finished this off, we still have a little bit of ways to go, though. So, nevertheless, we're just, I'm just thinking back about, how Season 2 has been so far, especially when you compare it to Season 1, where, we saw just absolute dominance coming out from the Japanese teams here. But, this time seeing that a lot more of the other regional teams, the Kicks team, Coveo's Reform, being able to perform even against some of the Japanese teams are just showing a lot more improvement, and I'm just, it's really a very encouraging thing to see here, because for the longest time it's been very difficult to see a lot of the Southeast Asian teams when they go up against Japanese teams, because it was never a close fight. There's very little that it actually can learn when you're constantly getting stomped over and over again, coming up from spawn only to die and coming out spawn again. So this time around, I think with the consistent improvements here that I'm seeing from all across the board from our non-Japanese teams here, it's really giving a lot of confidence that Season 3 is probably going to be even bigger compared to how Season 2 has been so far.
This time it's going to be the Crows 2 and Tara set up for the side of Team Flash. Let's see their response. It's going to be a Crow as well as a Genie on the left-hand side in the hands of Secondary. And Prime just going to be aggressing on fourth. He's got the speed on him for sure, but the question is, will he be able to take out Response, who's holding on to the mid segment of that map? With the turret setup, he's going to be quite the pain to deal with. And Wiggly Spoo, the Tara, man, the moment she gets to close the gap between herself as well as the rest of the players from the side of Asphyxia, it's going to be game over. And the flank on the left-hand side, they really need to watch out for that.
Yeah, Speed Zone is going to be set down yet again for Response, but they need to gather the gems. Now finally Team Flash is going to be going for it, and a good kill onto Prime there allows them a lot of control over the gem spawner now. So Team Flash is going to have an opportunity to go for the tag. They try to go for it with the Shadow Forms coming out here, but look at Twice. He jumps in the back line there. He forces CZK to fall all the way back. Response is already taken down, but he's already back in the fight. He comes in just in time to take out Twice, and CZK collects the gem now to bring it up to 9. Now they just need to bring in a couple more extra gems, and they should be able to get a countdown started. So this is already putting a lot of pressure on Asphyxia now to get the kills done. They finally get it done on Wiggly's crew, but CZK gets it, gets the last gem, gets the countdown started. Now it's going to be all collapse here from Asphyxia as they try to go in, but they lose a Genie in the process. 10 seconds ago, they lose Twice as well. Prime now moves in front, of desperate move from him to try to take out CZK, but a Max falls to the ground, and Team Flash makes it 2-for-2 right now in this first set.
Oh, the comeback is absolutely real. And Asphyxia, the question now is, what can they do to kind of match up this fight, right? Because, the Genie was doing quite well, but Team Flash, they played it so cleanly from the get-go, man. And once again, it was the Stu in that midsection. You throw down that speed turret, Crow's absolutely deadly in that mix, and you've got the Tara on that left-hand side. With all of that grassy areas, the cover is most definitely there. And you know the problem with Tara, man. The longer the distance, you should be able to manage the damage, but once she closes that gap already, that's going to be the damage where you're not going to be able to sustain much in that battle anymore, and she's going to be winning out all of those fights. And it looks like Team Flash just had the right composition, the right strat, and they executed it perfectly from the start all the way to the end. And Asphyxia didn't really have much of an option in that matchup, and I'm afraid that might just be the same case in the next round as well.
Definitely was a very opportunistic move there from ZZK, because if he didn't get that final gem and get that countdown started there and then, I think that Asphyxia could definitely have won back that fight quite easily. It's just that pressure of that countdown can always throw you off your game quite a bit, because now you're just dealing with a lack of time to get your plays done. So I think like it was very well done for Flash's side to, you know, basically keep the focal point on the brawlers rather than the gem spawner, so that basically opened the door for ZZK to pull that final run there to get this countdown started on the gems. So yeah, I think coming into this last matchup here, again, I still feel that there is that chance from Asphyxia, but it's starting to slip away a little bit now, because, you know, it's no longer about the Sandy versus Sandy matchups now.
Yeah.
Now they're already bringing Stu in the mix. This means that Flash is just, they're deciding to go for aggression, you know, over map control, and that can be a very dangerous thing, because Flash is very well coordinated as a team, and coordination plus like aggression is a winning combination. So this is going to be a very tough round number 5 here for Asphyxia, basically. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. I mean, it's the coordination that we're talking about. And when they bring in the perfect composition in there as well, you're not going to really be able to take the fight up against them. And once again, it was that perfect combo in terms of putting that Stu in that middle. You're talking about the support that he's able to play. You're talking about the range that he has on all of those shots as well. And they just played that to perfection. But Asphyxia, of course, what will be the adjustments? You see, if it's not broken, you don't fix it. And Flash not fixing anything at all. But perhaps a mirror. No mirror coming through. Rico will be brought forth on the other side. Prime does manage to drop Wiggly's Poo, and perhaps this is the opener that they need. Tara being played really well. Prime actually managed to close a majority of that gap, and now let's see exactly what they can pull off. That Stu, in terms of a response from the side of Asphyxia, is bringing on that damage, and the pressure play in terms of his turret as well is a good response to take on response, no pun intended.
Well, that's a very fun pun, definitely. So, well, Response anyway tries to move up forward there. The Stu on Asphyxia's side is a little low, so he's going to have to fall back. Shadow 4 almost gets a little bit too close for comfort there, but Prime has done so well to keep Wiggly Spew quite suppressed on his right-hand side. The Rico, though, on Asphyxia's side isn't doing too well against TZK, though. The Crow still is able to move up very far forward despite the barrage of shots that's coming out from Secondary's gun. So, in the meantime, it's still a very tight matchup here. I mean, Team Flash still has 6 gems to Asphyxia's 5 right about now. CZK tries to jump over there, gets a kill down to the secondary, so now a door is open on the right-hand side. Can Wicked Spew use his opportunity now to take down Prime? Unfortunately, they are focusing on the twice. Ooh, the Stu is already taken down and the gems are on the ground. Secondary picks it up there, so at least Asphyxia still is able to stay in the fight. But Response already has 8 gems. They are able to trade out there to take out Prime, but still, it's going to be all about the gems now as Response picks up another one to bring it up to 9. Now it's going to be 10 here as Blue Team has started the countdown 15 seconds ago. Can Asphyxia pull off the final kill? They have to be able to collapse in here because, again, CZK moves up forward here to prevent Secondary being able to go a little bit too far forward. Finally, Crow gets taken down. Now needs to aim onto Response. One final shot. Doesn't quite make it though. It looks like Team Flash finally takes set number 1, but man, that was quite the fight in order for them to bring it home.
Yeah, it really was unfortunate towards the very end. Stu played on the side of Team Flash was just way too good. The turret placement was quite honestly mirrored up but we all saw exactly who was the more aggressive Stu, right? But I feel like, in terms of that play on Tara, Asphyxia had those pressure play on that left-hand side, and they were pushing Team Flash back. They were winning that fight up. But, if you look on the right-hand side, the Rico, the pressure just did not happen, man. The Crow just kept going in there for the dive, and every single time he jumped on in, he got the kill for himself. And we're talking about the Stu and Crow combo on that right-hand side, which was just so effective. If Crow was not effective on his own already, right, Victor?
That's the thing. I think like the big mistake, or rather, I wouldn't even say it's a big mistake necessarily. It's just that Rico is definitely a lot more stronger if the maps are less open. He's definitely much better where things are a little bit more narrower, where there's a lot more obstacles for his shots to ricochet off of. So I think it's just because there's too much area to cover there that it's way too easy for Crow to find gaps in that defense on the right hand side. So it may be a little bit better if he went for a sharpshooter instead, like even using a Piper or Bell there to just nail down CZK. But again, that's also a very tricky thing to do, and I don't even think that the best shooters here in Brawl Stars necessarily be able to nail down a CZK that's literally on fire. So a
CZK that's on fire on top of being provided with that speed boost from this too, right? And that just makes him eternally more untouchable. And Rico, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's just way too open, and it's not impossible. You do get a little bit of extra damage each and every single time you do get the ricochet off, but you also need to really be able to, I guess, identify exactly where that final bullet is going to land, and you need to a certain degree make sure you're able to anticipate the movement of your opponents. But with CZK, his movement, that speed boost, he was just absolutely untouchable. This time round, CZK playing that Sandy once again. Sandstorm time a little bit later on as CZK drops secondary, that spike gets taken out, and the opportunity for Stu to aggress on fourth. He tries to go on, and he will be able to drop twice out of the equation. Pass on to CZK now, and they won't be able. Secondary, what a save with his life on the line.
That was a little too close to combat there. Good thing Twice is going to be able to come up, but unfortunately he's all alone now. Yep, no way he's going to be able to block the goal that time. Wiggity Spoo with the score, bringing it 1-0 now, but still plenty of time for Asphyxia to bring the attack back.
Okay, now let's see exactly what Response can do once again. CZK, he isn't able to be super effective in there. He pulls out the Sandstorm, backs away, and that super from the spike. Secondary doing a lot of damage, kind of disabling Wiggly Spoo from moving in for the backup onto Response. But Wiggly Spoo doesn't care, moves on to the right. Prime drops him out, and it looks like their Response is there for that Response. No pun intended once again, but Secondary drops him out. They trade each other out. CZK now, opportunity. He won't be doing anything, and it will be the Squeak with all of that AoE damage, and he will be able to make sure CZK does not get too cheeky. Response out with the turret. CZK with the pass, unable to do much, and CZK, he will be able to drop Prime. This is that final attack now being set up by CZK.
Oh, what? Oh my goodness, I saw Twice literally try to go for the ball, gets killed off before he picks up the ball. I mean, talk about perfect timing right there for Flash. On top of that, the Sandstorm literally right in front of the goalpost. I mean, it was a very impossible situation already for Asphyxia, and the fact that they picked up Twice before he was able to defend the goal, that was just the cherry on top there for me.
Yeah, the moment the Sandy pulls out the Sandstorm, that's an OP situation already. And in a game like Brawl Ball, it's quite a GG, man. You know, nothing Asphyxia could do about it. That was over before the game even started. Let's see if or not, as we move on into the next round of center stage, we can see adjustments coming out through from the side of Asphyxia. I mean, I want to see a little bit more of an aggressive play from their side, but they need to have the ability to take these ranged attacks against Team Flash. If not, they're not going to be able to manage this battle at all. I mean, maybe bringing a Bali in might be effective because we see the spike being played quite well. The supers are slowing down Wiggly Spoo in that mid section of that map. Maybe Bali with, a little bit of his AoE should be able to provide them with a little bit more of, the ability to slow down the pressure plays that are coming out of CZK as well as the rest of Team Flash. At the moment, it just seems like they're not really getting the job done, but it's not really their fault. Team Flash is really going out there with a vengeance to take this and finish it off quick.
Yeah, and indeed, they really want to get this done and over with because they already got over probably the biggest hump, which was the first map. So I think from this point on, the matchup should be a lot easier for Team Flash's end. But let's see whether or not they'll be able to make full use of that squeak though, because I think Prime certainly has a good idea about how to make use of this squeak there. That's going to be a good kill to response, and there's no way he's going to be able to get out of that for sure. Now the ball, oh, that was too close there. Secondary, he almost shot that into an own goal actually. That was a very tense situation there, I think. But nevertheless, they got the ball completely cleared. Prime is going to be able to pick it up here. Now he's going to use, look at that, he chose the ball along with his attack at the same time. A very smart way to try to force a lot of pressure. Oh, and that's a good kill onto response yet again. Wigglyspoo is going to bring out his shadow forms, but again, with the squeak, aerial effect being that big, it really just clears out the shadow forms very, very quickly. So Wigglyspoo may not be that big of a factor going into this round now. Look at the amount of damage he's just taking up there. Prime constantly keeping the pressure going on there. That's going to be 2 kills in one fell swoop. And Candy capitalizes and makes a goal. Shoots, Prime scores.
I think the squeak was just absolute effective on this particular matchup, and it looks like he's going to be able to do that again. Stu, can he provide that support? The super is on the pump, and the Crow waiting to go in there for the jump. CZK is going to be the pressure player, pulls out his super, will be able to pressure twice back, who steps on right onto that super, damage being dealt, but he backs away in the nick of time, so no capitalization from the side of Team Flash, but Wigglyspoo now drops down twice, and the response coming out of the squeak will be taken out. Team Flash. Oh, goodness me.
Oh, well, that didn't work out that well that time, and I think it was just basically down to, the Prime not being able to support the other two brawlers. So he pretty much is pulling his own kind of game here, which is basically spamming his attacks and making sure that he's taking control of the map. Oh, but CZK takes him out though. So now it's going to be up to the Crow as well as the Stu now to try to maintain control over the pitch here. So Flash is just taking this very, very methodically. They take out the Stu first. Now they're going to try to force the pressure onto secondary. That's going to be a very good position there for Press. He moves up very far forward here. He's on the front. Can he get a kill done? No. One last shot. Didn't quite make it though. But Twice still takes a lot of damage. The door is wide open. CZK gets the ball. He shoots. He scores. The second round goes to Team Flash.
I pity Prime. I pity that Squeak this time around. They knew Squeak was a huge problem, right? But the pressure play this time around to just force Squeak back seems to be the perfect unlocking for the side of Team Flash to grab the victory. And that was just played to perfection, man, towards the end.
Yeah, basically they figured it out. I mean, the problem that was a problem that was going on early on. It's just basically Prime was completely unopposed, so he was able to just keep pressure going. And to your point about using a Barley to get control of the map, I wanted to say that Squeak can also do the same thing. It's just that first round he really couldn't nail it down that well. But you could see clearly Prime really figured out quite well how to use the Squeak in this round. And I mean, spamming his attacks and the amount of the area that actually covers up is very, very strong. And especially when it's super, despite the fact that it's quite random, it still clears out a lot of the obstacles. So that already makes things a lot easier for Asphyxia as time goes on. And it's just that, Flash quickly figured out that, okay, this Squeak is really becoming a real pain in our butts right now. Let's get rid of him. And Response immediately jumped in there and got that done. So, I mean, it's just off of that, again, just remove the Squeak from the equation, and basically Asphyxia was really easy pickings from that point onwards.
Yeah, because they were really depending on him to make a majority of those plays, right? Even with the goal that they initially got, it was, spectacular plays from this guy where the Squeak just went in there with the pass, for example, followed up with a shot immediately. It's all about the anticipation that they bring out into these matches. But this time round, it's going to be Twice bringing out the Frank, and he does have the Poco on the support as well. This might be the perfect setup. Oh no, but Twice gets dropped. Secondary just managed to take Response out of the equation. Wigglyspoo, but the defense is there. Secondary, can he survive? And Frank is right back in the matchup before they get taken down. A stellar pass over to secondary, and they still will be able to survive this and pass right back to Prime. Poco now with the job. He goes in here with the pass up front. He needs to connect together with Frank. Frank now will be able to take down the defenses in that mid segment of that map, trying to take down Wiggly Spoo from the equation as well. Response will be able to catch him out, and Prime unable to go in for that support. Passes the bomb finally, and one goal should be able to secure it, and they take it.
Woo! That was so fast and rapid there. I mean, you could see, you know, the gears turning in twice his head as he was clearing out obstacles. He knew he just needed to make a clear beeline towards that goal, and he should be able to score it in. So very well done for Asphyxia. That's certainly going to make things a bit tough now for Team Flash, because they know that a cheese play can always be done twice again. So they're going to try to keep him completely suppressed. They just completely surround him, not only even giving him a single chance to stay alive on their side of the pitch, but CZK slips right past. What was Asphyxia doing at the time? They weren't there to defend.
CZK just saw the opportunity, walks the ball right through. He had so much of HP on him. This spike didn't need to worry. Now twice. The opportunity. Oh! Too excited, but manages to bring in the pressure play. One more. And Asphyxia still surviving, Victor.
Man, what is this matchup, man? Oh, like I said, you know, for Asphyxia, their best bet to take a round off of, to take the map off of Team Flash was either round number 1 or round number 2. Now, after seeing how to get so close in round map 1, I was quite worried that they wouldn't be able to do that in map number 2, but pulling out the Frank here was certainly the ticket now. I mean, wow, the way they cleared out the obstacle, just created literally a beeline from the center of the court all the way to the goal. All they needed to do was just basically send the ball, just send it direct there, direct to sender, no return address needed.
And, you know, they went in there for the overkill, bro. They sent the Frank in with the Poco support. I mean, he already had the sustainability. The guy was just an absolute tank in the mid segment of the area. But, you know, Poco didn't really need to do much of that supporting, because Frank was just all on his own, getting a majority of this job done. And, you know, just not enough of pressure was placed on this brawler, right? Now, let's see exactly what we will be able to see Team Flash bring in here as an adjustment, because there's absolutely no way they want to drop ball. But I don't think it's going to be in their hands. If Asphyxia is as sharp as they were in that previous round, we might just see them bag this and force a Ring of Fire play at Hot Zone later on.
Yeah, they have to maximize on like high damage brawlers now. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like I said, even if Poco wasn't a factor there, the Frank can still sustain quite well because of this 10k like HP. So he's you literally have to gang up on him, just like how Team Flash did in order to take down the Frank in one fell swoop. So add to you know, having Poco, having Super in that situation, it can be very difficult to deal with that Frank. So again, it's all about fast plays for Asphyxia. You know, the problem with Asphyxia's lineup here is that they cannot sustain if this match goes for longer than a minute. You know, so again, it's a very risky kind of move, I gotta say, from Asphyxia's side. But you know, if they can pull it off again, it's going to work wonders for them. But nope, looks like they're going to be going for a Stu and Sandy this time round. So it's going to be standard play in this round.
Yep, Ems brought out as well. In terms of the area coverage, that Ems should just be exactly what they need. Secondary on the Sandstorm play later on needs to be able to hit them to perfection. I really see Asphyxia able to make a comeback here with this particular lineup. They should be able to play all of this pressure. Prime immediately with that interception, so crucial. Will be able to take the fight. Oh no!
Oh, it just all fell apart so rapidly there. I mean, once the Sandy got taken down, there was basically no one to set up the Sandstorm to defend, and basically at that point, the Ems and the Stu were just sitting ducks. So Flash now having a 1-point advantage. This is a very dangerous situation now for Asphyxia. They cannot afford to let their lineup fall back like that. Ems is taking a lot of damage. Prime gets taken out from spawns. The door is open yet again. Sandstorm this time is going to be brought out, but can they survive? No. Secondary gets taken out. Twice falls back to the goal. He's going to try to defend here. Wiggly Spoo trying to find a way, but can't quite get past obstacle before he loses his life. A little bit of a heart attack moment there for Asphyxia, but they still are able to breathe a little bit easier as the ball is on the other side of the pitch.
Well, it just proves to be the Sandstorm just way too OP in Brawl Stars at the moment. Wiggly Spoo trying to play that pressure. The Stara needs to just close this gap if she wants to be a little bit more effective. Wiggly Spoo knows that, but unfortunately, Stu's just way too fast, placing the pressure on the left and right hand side of this barrier, not allowing Response to come out there. But Wiggly Spoo trading out that spot with Response. That is the perfect comeback to take this fight up against Rise! And Response shuts him down! This is the time for Team Flash to now aggress up.
Watch out for CZK though, he's very far forward and is able to take out the M, so that's already opening the door wide open! Oh my goodness, Wiggly Spoo is already taken down as well as twice, but Response picks up the ball yet again. Secondary respawns in, brings in the Sandstorm just in the nick of time. That forces Flash now to fall back. 15 seconds to go, it's still one goal in favor of Team Flash. Again, Asphyxia needs to get control for this round, but again, Response making himself very, very scarce on the map right now. Takes another kill onto twice. 3 seconds to go. Response finally gets taken down, but it is all over. Team Flash takes the second set here at 3-2-1.
I cannot believe what we just saw because, quite honestly, Secondary, if only he had played that a little bit more stellar, I think they could have bagged this. I think they could have pushed it into round number 5 for this set. But ultimately, obviously, Team Flash would have, finished it off eventually. But I think they had a little bit more of room to show exactly what they're capable of doing, especially with that Sandy play, right? We've seen exactly how OP those Sandstorms have been. And most of the time, the Sandstorm was used in this circumstance by Asphyxia was on the defensive. Whenever CZK pulls out his Sandy, we see on how the Sandstorm is pulled out on the offensive and how effective it is, especially in Brawl Ball. That just wasn't played at all by the side of Asphyxia, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think like Flash is already realizing, that once one member of Asphyxia gets taken down, the other two seem to be very uncoordinated after that point. Yeah. So it became much easier for them to actually kill them once they've already eliminated one member. So it's quite surprising because normally, especially when you see the other teams like Moya G or Zeta Division, even the individual members are still able to fight quite effectively despite overwhelming odds. And it's just surprising to see that Asphyxia can't really handle that level of pressure. So again, I think it's only going to compound the problem now as we go into the bounty round here, because Flash is going to have all the advantage in the world coming into this one, because we know how mechanically skilled these guys are. We know how coordinated they can be. And look at that, right out of the bat, they're already leading 5-0.
Oh, Nani won't be able to find Response. Explodes through the wall, and unfortunately Asphyxia gonna be struggling from the get-go. Twice now, getting taken down, but not before Wiggly Spoo got eliminated first. Asphyxia trying to make a comeback in here, but they need to find a way to take down CZK. And this guy, instrumental in almost every single matchup that Team Flash takes. He always plays the brawler that brings in a majority of the impact. But now, as I say that, CZK, he gets taken down. Prime gets traded out instantaneously. Team Flash still in front, but nothing too much from Asphyxia to catch up with. And here comes CZK. Once again, oh my apologies, that's not CZK. Super pulled out in the nick of time. And they are able to take Peep out as well. Well responded by Team Flash.
Yeah, very, very close there. Piper now. Oh, that's a good shot there. Lugetto with Response to get the kill now. Nani's going to be sending a super out, trying to find another target there. Just doesn't quite find the damage does, so it just blows up without taking anyone down to get a whip in. Asphyxia is still a little bit behind the stars. They don't have the blue star either. That's still in Response's hand. But the thing is that Asphyxia, as they move up, they're completely keeping Team Flash contained within their side there. So that's actually taking a lot of pressure, but still, they're not able to find the kills. Back to back there. Piper and Genie get themselves picked up there. That's handling even more stars out of Team Flash. They have more than twice the number of stars that Asphyxia has on hand. Another kill there to Genie. Probably it's going to seal the deal because they have 3 times the amount of stars now with 6 seconds to go. It's not close at all here in this round now. Team Flash seems to be able to take this first round very, very convincingly.
30-13 is nothing short than a trashing, and unfortunately for Asphyxia, that's exactly what they're going to be facing in a matchup like this. if number one, that Nani cannot find the accuracy with all of those supers, because that's the opener. Once that Nani finds the connection with those openers, you really need to go in there with the follow-up, right? We've seen this happen in those previous matchups already, but in the first place, Asphyxia, they can't even hit with that Nani super. They're not going in with that follow-up. In fact, they are backing away with each and every single opportunity. Now, the response from CZK isn't, super effective. The Nani play from him was not the best version that we've seen in here so far, but it wasn't up to just him, right? And that's exactly what makes Team Flash so dangerous out there on the battlefield. When you don't have your superstar performing, the other two, they step up, and it was still, in terms of play, perfection from the side of Team Flash. And as we move on into this next round, let's see what are the adjustments Asphyxia brings in forth for us.
Well, doesn't look like much adjustment. I can only see the Nani and the Piper, and they're going to be bringing out the Bell as well, so that's a little bit different this time around. Yeah. Let's see if Secondary can nail the shots, though. He nails one onto Response, but no follow-up that time, though. Wiggly Spool is still around and still is able to bring in the heal and brings the Piper back up at speed very rapidly. So Team Flash now tries to move forward. They get the kill onto the Bell. They almost get a kill onto Nani, but Twice does get the response onto Response. Now CZK does get the trade out here, so it's still back and forth, but it seems like Flash still is having the upper hand, though. 12 stars to 7, as Asphyxia still are a little bit behind, coming up a bit short there on the kills. They do get another one in response. It's going to help the case a little bit, but still have 4 stars to make up, and it lose the Nani yet again to ZZK. Prime is going to have to step it up a little bit more, because they can't keep conceding kills like this every time they're able to get a trade.
Yeah, Response has not been super effective in this matchup so far. The guy has gone in there for those double dives, but finally manages to go in there, shuts down Twice. Skillfully manages to get away and shuts down Secondary. Back at the moment I call the guy out, he immediately shows us exactly how he can do exactly as his name says. Respond. 23-15. Team Flash now running away with this matchup, Victor.
Oh my goodness, Response yet again, jumps in, but that time he dies outright. So 20 seconds to go here. Team Flash will have the lead in stars, but only just. And yet again, Response conceded himself to give more stars away. Secondary is going to get picked up by CZK. That's going to give a slim lead right now. A 5-star lead here for Team Flash's Response. Jumps in for the up team time, concedes it yet again. A 3-star difference, but Wiggly Spool finally gets a kill on the Prime. But that is going to be enough, though. But that was really coming down to the wire, though. In the final few seconds, 2 stars. What's the difference there between Team Flash and Asphyxia? But Team Flash was still able to take it in the end.
I guess the biggest disappointment here in this day for me in terms of Asphyxia is them banning out Meg. But apart from that, I think they've kind of, showed us exactly what they're capable of doing. I mean, great fights taken up against Team Flash, but like you have already mentioned at the start of this particular series, it's more of an opportunity for them to see exactly how much they can drag out of the ex-World Champions, and I think they're doing quite well. In terms of the mechanical capabilities of Team Flash to bag this round after round, no surprise at all, right? But I really like the adjustment of that Bell being brought through. I think Secondary has got an idea here. It's just that those shots need to be hit a little bit more accurately. Maybe this will be the round that Asphyxia finds that. Let's see exactly what they can achieve.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Twice is going to be the first one to be picked off there. That's already handing a 2-star lead, but Prime does get the kill onto Response. So now they're keeping things very close. Nani tries to send a super out, gets the kill onto Twice. So again, they're just going to be back and forth with this all day long. Prime gets a kill onto Response. Can they get a trade onto Bell? Yes, they do. So it's still a 2-star lead for Team Flash even at this juncture. 8-6 so far, with the blue star being on the Singaporean. Oh, sorry, they're both Singaporean teams actually. They're both. Team Flash will have the advantage though with the blue star in hand, so that's going to break the tie somewhat if they can't get another kill here. But just like that, gets another trade. It's still going to be 10 for 10 right now with 1 minute to go. So it's very much a closer match here compared to the rest of the roundy rounds. And finally, Asphyxia actually gets a very good lead up, getting 2 kills out of CZK and Response. It's actually going up to 10 stars now. Asphyxia having a really good position here. They're going to be able to keep the aggression going as they keep Team Flash contained within their side of the spawn. Response is going to get picked up for the team time. Is handing a lot of stars now to Prime. CZK and Wiggly Spool desperate to try to keep control here. Response jumping back in here. Is he going to get taken out yet again? One more shot will be able to do it. Distracted by the Nani. super. Oh, that's going to be twice getting taken out yet again.
Oh, but now they just need to aim for Prime. The problem is this guy just a little too slick. 15 seconds now to go. Question is, are they going to be able to fight him? Oh, the naughty super comes through once again. And this is all over. Asphyxia, they bag it, but they don't make a comeback just yet. They set one up. Let's see if or not they can keep up the pressure. 34-23, dropping a little bit of the performance in towards the end of that matchup. But overall, they've managed to bag it and, stay alive, at least for a little bit longer.
I'm a bit concerned about the way Response was playing. It kind of felt like he was phoning it in, like literally just running straight into the middle of the map and getting himself caught out every single time. So I don't know. It just gives me a little bit of sense that Team Flash is already getting a little bit too relaxed now. I mean, again, they know that this is definitely a matchup that's going to favor them massively here, but to see them kind of like falter a little bit here, it's a little bit strange to see. But I mean, then again, they're already 2 maps ahead, so what's going to be one map conceded at this point now, right?
Yeah, and I think it was just the side of Team Flash not wanting to finish this off a little bit too fast. But I think they might be able to give you exactly what you want. Response flying away. This time the guy doesn't fall, takes an initial takedown with the blue star in his hands as well. Exactly what will his Piper be able to do? The Piper loses the blue star. That's pulling the 3 stars on their side. The question is, can they fight this into round number 5? Response steps up once again. This time we'll be able to find Prime secondary dropped as well. And now the 10 star on the side from Team Flash. They make that comeback a little bit too soon.
You can see how far forward Team Flash is moving here. They're keeping Asphyxia contained. They don't want to leave anything to chance now. One shot to do, secondary to take him down. Can it get another one? Is the Piper to take him out? Ooh, look at the dodging. Look at the sidestepping that the Piper was able to do. Staying alive all throughout that, but still, Team Flash has the lead in stars. 11 stars in the lead so far. That's looking very, very close there for Prime. Oh, one more shot there. That should have almost taken down the Bell, but somehow Bell still survives on. Twice now going to try to move up onto CZK. That's putting him a little bit in harm's way there against Wiggly Spoo and Response. Now moving up here, secondary does have his shield up. He's trying to aim for CZK, misses his first shot as the Piper tries to move up and try to get the shots done onto Response as well. But look at that, they're still missing a lot of it. Response is able to bring super out of it, dodge out of the way. CZK gets blasted out. Gotta get one more shot though. Look at that, they're very, very low. They're trying to move up there, trying to get the shots out at the same time, but still missing by a country mile. Not able to get the stars back. Asphyxia looking very much out on alert. 20 seconds to go. That super comes in. Doesn't try to take out twice, but he still gets a trade of response anyway.
Oh, but now secondary, he needs to step up. CZK, he's been running rampant way too long in here. Piper, Prime will be able to drop that super back away, but now 4 stars required. Are they going to be able to take down Response and Wiggly Spoo? Secondary backs away. 3 more seconds on the clock, and Team Flash, they've done it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They've beaten Asphyxia. They've made it through to the playoffs, and this is game over.
No, I think Asphyxia just won that round.
Oh, sorry, what?
They actually did it. Yeah, they just won that round. In the last second, they did.
I did not see that at all.
I mean, to be fair, it was like a last-minute thing there, but look at that. To be fair, like what happened there was like Nani actually sent out his super. Those twice actually sent out his super. I thought he was going to go on the Piper. He didn't. He actually slipped by the Piper, went straight for CZK, actually killed him coming out of spawn. And with the Piper being low, they actually managed to pull off one last shot that actually gave them enough stars to actually win that round. No, Asphyxia on the final line, and they actually managed to bag this. This is an absolute shocker. I'm sorry I missed that, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but let's see if or not they can pull it off once again. CZK not going to be too happy with that at all. Prime stepping up to pick up that blue star, will be able to get that first, but Response with that pressure trying to pick it up for himself. Twice, that shot finally does not land. Response pulls that blue star back, and they will still be able to play all of that pressure. Team Flash dropping it in that final moment. What an unexpected turn of events, Victor. Oh yeah, that surprised all of us, you and me both. So let's see whether or not Xpixia can capitalize on this though, because Team Flash definitely thought they had this already completed. Now they're gonna be forced to play yet another round. That's gonna be a good super there by CZK to take down Prime. Can they use this opportunity now to move up against both the Bell as well as the Nani? They aren't able to take down secondary quite yet though, as now Prime comes back up into play. He does take out Wiggins in the process, so now he's keeping it very close. They get another kill there. CZK gets taken down by the Nani yet again, and oh my goodness, Twice is very, very happy with that. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, he's delighted, man. I mean, initially he was about to get that shot, but the Piper kind of stole that off of him, Prime getting that hit. But he just manages to remaneuver that. But CZK manages to bag that right back. Secondary goes in for the trade, but Prime manages to find that final shot. Amazingly played, and Asphyxia still ahead with 2 stars. They might just be able to make this comeback in here.
Yo, they're going to tie it up there. CZK taking the kill on the Twice now makes it 11-11, but crucially, and it's very crucial, Xpixia has a blue star in hand. So Flash, they're not quite done the job yet. There's still 20 seconds to go. They still need to find one more kill. They do find it on the Twice.
No.
Now secondary comes up, tries to get a shot under the response, but this Wiggins gets taken down. 13-13.
Nani!
8 seconds.
Nani!
Oh, try to find it.
Oh!
That doesn't quite make it. That's not enough damage. Can it get one last shot there? Response.
No!
One more. No! Asphyxia. They take one map against Team Flash.
I am absolutely mind blown right now by the amount of effort Asphyxia is throwing into this matchup. And dude, they didn't let go, man. Yes, it was all kind of equaled up in there. They still had the blue star on them. And it was the mistake that we kind of saw Asphyxia making early on in these matchups, right? Where they were playing way too defensively against the side of Team Flash. But that final play with that Nani and that super kind of made the game for them, right? It was the amount of pressure that was enough to keep Team Flash back as they were backing away. And I think this ended up in the best way possible for them. Purple Paradise is not that final resting ground. Yes, they pull one back and we force a ring of fire. Hot zone. Are they actually going to go in here for the dream run? I don't mind if they don't make it through to the 5th map, but at least if they are able to take 1 or 2 wins off of Ring of Fire. Remember what we said? Kalah tak apa, style mesti ada. Asphyxia showing us that style right now, Victor.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay, so that's the thing. Like, my prediction was that, Asphyxia was either gonna win map 1 or map number 2. I felt like those were the 2 best options for them, given their skill level. The fact they were able to take it in the 3rd round, in the bounty round, no less. Mind-blowing. This is mind-blowing performance here from Asphyxia. I mean, just when you thought you were gonna count them out, they just come back. They still come back yet again, even down to their last breath.
I am, this is just an absolute shocker. But, in Ring of Fire, there's just no saying exactly how this is going to go, right? Because you want to pin it down to mechanical capabilities, or usually it would be Team Flash at the get-go, right in front when we kind of compare them mechanically against each other. But in this 3rd round, like you said, Purple Paradise was not that matchup that Asphyxia is supposed to be winning because of that mechanical capability that Team Flash has dangling over their heads. But they still managed to bag it, man. I mean, it was a moment of desperation towards the very end there, but they still managed those moments very, very well. But as we move on to the hot zone, are they going to be playing the hot zone early enough? CZK bringing that bell in should have the amount of distance, that range is there. But Colonel Ruffs and the defense should be the perfect setup for the side of Asphyxia to drop twice in to pick up a few of those extra points, but just not capitalizing on that situation.
Well, look at where Prime is positioned, though. He's going to be sending his Shadows form out, trying to get onto Quickly Spoo, but he's going to lose his life as in process, though. Though Twice is still able to move up, though, he's going to be able to keep the capture going onto the hot zone, but he's getting pressured massively now from both Wiggly Spoo and Response. Now the Shadow Form is going to be coming up from the Terra on the Team Flash's side, but that's only forcing Twice out of the hot zone just only momentarily. But now he comes back in to bring it up to 21%. That ties out with Team Flash. Now Xpixia is going to be ahead as Response bring down the speed zone. Secondary is still is able to hold his own on the right-hand side as the Colonel Rubs now tries to go up against Response. Gonna get one last shot. Oh, they do. They get both onto Response and in CZK. Both of them are taken out of the map now. They're gonna have to fight their way back from the start here.
Now this is the pressure play from Secondary on that right-hand side. Wiggly Spoo, one more shot should be enough. And Secondary, the Colonel Ruffs wins that fight out hands down. And Asphyxia, they might just be running away with this matchup. Response with a pressure play, but twice. And now second time round, he manages to get this done right. Prime with the flank on towards that left-hand side. Tara will be pulling the Stu out for a battle of their own. But with the turret set down and the speed out of the Stu, I am absolutely amazed that Prime was able to stand on there for so long, but CZK steps in and the 2-on-1 situation puts him out of the count. But Asphyxia, look at this now, 84 to 28, they're really getting it done, Victor.
Yeah, Prime now comes back in to try to take over the place. Twice comes back in. Well, oh, that's a good vacuum there. Catching both Twice as well as Prime. That's going to be 2 quick kills there. Now Secondary is going to be only one now to contest against CZK Response. The good news, though, is that Team Flash is still a long way to go before they're going to be able to finish this hot zone. That's allowing Twice and Prime to come back in just in the nick of time. Takes out the Stew and takes the hot zone for themselves. Asphyxia already winning out the first round here in set number 4. So I don't know. If I'm on Team Flash's side, I've got to be a little bit worried.
I'm definitely worried for Team Flash a little bit, not super worried because, you know, as soon as they find a response for the Colonel Ruffs, I think they should be able to, you know, continue breaking down the side of Asphyxia in this matchup. And nothing's lost just yet. They've got 2 of these sets in their hands already, and they just need to aim for one more. If it's not going to be Hot Zone, it's probably going to be the final match, which I really want to see. We have not been able to, you know, kind of get ourselves into some assembly required just yet for the final day. And, you know, when we go on there, it's probably going to be a great showdown. But Asphyxia, it's all about the defense that they played, right? Initially, with the defense from Colonel Ruffs that he placed down onto the ground, they didn't really take advantage of that situation much. They were losing quite a number of their fights, but it's the adjustment that they brought in round the second time, right? With the pressure from the Tara onto that left-hand flank, just pulling Stu out of the equation. When Stu's not there for that pressure play, yes, he's able to drop his turret in for that support, but, you know, all of that damage that Stu's able to bring in immediately absorbed by the Tara. And I feel like that was really well managed from the side of Asphyxia. They just need to keep that up, Victor.
Yeah, and the thing is that I think Flash also has to be a little bit more aware that they cannot just only focus on the Tara, because the kind of Russ was also conversely taking a lot of control over the right hand side, just being unopposed. So yeah, again, Team Flash not quite out of the woods yet. It's still gonna have to fight like heck, you know, in this round. So this is definitely shaping out something very interesting, as both teams are taking a mirror match practically here. Only difference is that it's gonna be Jesse versus a Tara on the left hand side.
Well, let's see if or not this Jesse will be able to win this out. Yep, the answer is absolutely yes. And what a response by Response. And now CZK, Wiggly Spoo, 2-on-1. They managed to drop Secondary out. And unfortunately, that was an immediate trade coming through. And CZK now dropped down by Twice as well. Response, the final player in here. And this Jesse might just pay for that past sins of taking Secondary out of the equation. But no, the pressure play from the side of Asphyxia and that comeback in here seems to be absolutely solid, Victor.
Yeah, they're still able to hold their own. Prime moving very much forward here in the right-hand side. He's gonna, doesn't quite have the range to take out CZK, and unfortunately he's gonna pay for it with his life there as Wiggly Spoo moves up. Now Wiggly Spoo is gonna try to backdoor Twice here. He's got his sights onto that bell. Now the Tyrant's gonna move forward here to try to force Wiggly Spoo off, and it's gonna be very successful in that regard, but still takes a lot of damage himself. Now Response is gonna be taking the spot. He's gonna be able to bring it up to 46% before finally Twice does get the kill onto him. Response in the meantime though gets himself traded out. CZK is keeping himself on the line here, trying to ensure that Team Flash has the lead on the hot zone as Asphyxia comes back out from spawn.
Now let's see if or not they can finish this off. CZK taking advantage of all of this map control. Wiggly Spoo, practically getting a lot done on the right-hand side. He brings in the Colonel Ruffs because he knows exactly how effective this brawler is. And with a double play on that hot zone right now from the side of Team Flash, it's all over. 100 to 52. This was a good response. And quite honestly, the adjustment in there, I can't tell whether or not it was the advantage advantage brought in by the Jesse or the Colonel Ruffs, because both of them played it really, really well on those flanks, Victor.
I think like how they won that out was just basically by staggering out these respawns coming out from Asphyxia's side, so they weren't able to coordinate their supers anymore, towards the final half of that round. So that's why they weren't able to put out much of much resistance towards the end there. So I would just say that's a little bit more on a little bit more of like a high level management play that was going on the Team Flash's side. So I think Asphyxia should try to prevent themselves from getting picked off like that, one after another, in order to avoid that kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing that quite well to a certain degree, except to a point where, in that mid-segment of the map, they lost control. And from then on, it was just the side of Team Flash running away with Asphyxia. They've been able to show us that the adjustments that they've been able to bring into the matches so far to be super effective, and I think they should be able to continue doing that in the following matches.
Yeah, so let's see whether or not Asphyxia will be able to change it up here, because I think Flash is already recognizing the level of threat that's actually ahead of them here in the form of Asphyxia. So they're treating this very, very seriously now. I mean, look at the change up here. Squeak, Sprout, as well as Piper. This is going to be quite an unusual setup here, as Prime also picks up the Sprout for himself. Oh, that's a good kill there to do with Squeak.
Well, great stuff coming out here from the side of Asphyxia. Twice now with the aggression. Is he going to be able to bag more for himself? Response. Oh, what a super being pulled out from the side of Prime, forcing Response to take the flank on the left-hand side instead. But will this Squeak be able to punish Prime? Yes, he does exactly that. Ooh. Beautiful plays coming through. And Asphyxia, they a number of the hot zone percentage for themselves with that play.
Yo, Response is playing a very, very good Squeak here. Look at that. He's already very far forwards here. Now he's going to be able to force himself onto Prime. There's no way that Sprout's going to be able to survive that onslaught there. CZK stays onto the hot zone and allows Team Flash to bring it up to 25%. Willy Screw has his super out as well, so he's going to be able to block off the right-hand side. That's only going to make it a bit difficult, but Twice the secondary to try to contest this, as he takes so much damage there from CZK and gets taken out of the map. Now Prime is going to be able to wrap around the back there. CZK is going to finally gets his comeuppance there, but already the job is done. They are able to bring out 34%, but Asphyxia now having control over there. It's going to up a response to try to force him off the way. Twice is down to 16 health points, but he's still alive. Even though he managed to stay out of the way there, he's still able to come back into the fight. Now this time Prime is going to get picked off there. Look at the shots coming in. Response trying to take out secondary. That's a lot of damage done, but look at that. The Shadow Form comes out and takes out Response just in the nick of time, allowing Asphyxia to take this round.
I cannot believe exactly what I'm seeing in here. They just do not know when to give up. And I feel like that's the exact tenacity that they require to take the fight up against Team Flash, right? The moment you do not believe in yourself is the moment where you lose. And Asphyxia, they've got the confidence. And look at it this way, right, Victor? They've got practically nothing to fight for anymore in the competition. Making it through to the playoffs just isn't an option for them anymore. But the amount of tenacity and the amount of conviction that they bring into these matches, I absolutely love it. This is a team that just does not know when to give up and how to give up, and that's the exact sort of a team that should be able to show their faces over at Season 3 and dominate this competition. I mean, if they're able to hold back Team Flash in this fashion, I think they're capable of so much more. It's just that they are performing in the competition for my liking, Victor.
Yeah, and you just got to consider that fact that yet again, I mean, again, Asphyxia has nothing to lose in this matchup at all, whereas Team Flash has literally everything to lose. So I mean, that's why there's a lot more pressure on Team Flash's side compared to Asphyxia. I mean, as far as Asphyxia is concerned, they could just throw away the next few rounds, and that's not going to do anything as far as their performance in the challengers are concerned. So if anything at all, this is just only going to add to the confidence level on Asphyxia's side, and it's quickly becoming a monster that Team Flash is starting to actually lose reign over at this point, which is quite surprising to see, especially for such a veteran team. But I think like there might be just a slight element of like underestimation on Team Flash's side. Again, like even the way I kind of approached this match as well is that, I thought that most focal point was going to be on the first couple of maps, but the fact that Asphyxia was still able to bring this level of competition all the way to the third map, this makes me think that they definitely came way more prepared than I really gave them credit for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what we want to see in this competition, right? Not teams just giving up halfway through. And if they are able to bring out this exact same amount of tenacity all the way into this next matchup as well, there's no doubt whatsoever they will be able to push us into that fifth map. I want to see exactly what they have got in for some assembly required. Let's see if or not this will be that final showdown that perhaps Asphyxia manages to bag. Or will Team Flash make that stellar comeback as usual and upset them? Well, it's going to be Wiggly Spoo pulling out all of those shadow clones first. A secondary sends them out his life as well, and twice able to manage the zone quite well. Pulls out the super in the nick of time, managing to back away. The turret from Stu just giving her all of the extra boost in terms of speed that she will need as soon as she backs away. So I think this setup from Asphyxia seems super duper solid.
Well, the thing is that, using the Stu on secondary is just keeping both the Piper and the Tara completely distracted on the left-hand side. So it's making CZK's job a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. And look at that. I mean, Prime is already pushing the CZK all the way back here, and it's preventing him from being able to properly support response. It's his attempt to try to keep the capture going onto the hot zone. That's another good shot there to take down secondary. Now just need to follow it up onto the spike, and yep, they do take down Prime. So now they already have a good spot here while Wiggly Spoo continues to keep the pressure going on the front side there. Brings out his shadow forms, but gets picked off a little bit there. He's going to be forced to fall back, but Prime is going to be brought down way, way, way low, but Response isn't able to get a kill until I just said so. Prime now gets taken down. CZK keeps himself on the right-hand side. Now looks like Flash is finally taking control.
Yeah, and the main player there was Wiggly Spoo, right? Pulls out his clones, which just runs around the map, healing up the rest of his team members, and that just allows them to play the midsection of the map so much better. And, Response was already a pain, but it was the Squeak putting on a majority of the damage. And yes, he was about to lose his life, but once again, thanks to that beautiful play from the Tara, yes, Team Flash makes a comeback, and yes, Team Flash now looks like they are about to run away with this, but secondary with that pressure play will be able to shut down Response. And now here comes Asphyxia trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, this is very good now because Asphyxia is going to be able to use this opportunity now to catch up to where Team Flash is on the hot zone. CZK and Response now come back in. They put the pressure onto the Stu. The shots coming through, but still not landing too much on the Stu until that very moment there. But still, secondary stays alive through all of that onslaught. Now Team Flash gets himself back on the hot zone now. It's going to be brought up quite rapidly. And then secondary moves up now to contest. He takes out CZK. He tries to aim for Response, but now he has to pull back a little bit because Wiggly Spoo is next on the menu. And yes, he's going to get eaten up completely there by Prime. Response tries to get the trade there. Oh, look at a couple of stickies there on the flies. He's going to be very low, but no! Asphyxia still nails it in the end, though. What? I am at a loss, man. I am at an absolute loss at the moment because, time and time again, Asphyxia is just literally proving everyone wrong, in every single instance. And having taken this next map now, I mean, chances of Team Flash getting to playoffs is very, very low, especially on comeback here. So I gotta say, well played on Asphyxia's side. The fact that they were able to pull this off, it's just nothing short of miraculous. And bear in mind, we're talking about a team that's literally at the bottom of the rankings here, showing up against Team Flash. Wow.
I am just in absolute shock of what Team Flash has managed to pull off in this matchup. But now as we move on in towards some assembly required, I feel like I cannot thank Asphyxia enough for this setup, right? Because what a way for us to like wrap up the whole of the group stages for the side of Brawl Stars Asia Pacific in this ESL Mobile Challenge, where we see one team desperately fighting for all of their victories in here to move on to the playoffs. But we have Asphyxia trying to lock them down in a position where they might be wondering whether or not they will be able to make it through. Because don't forget, it is the tie situation that we will see Team Flash end up with, and they have to take that tie up against Team Kicks, who might be able to make it through. Earlier on, when we looked at the standings, remember, Team Kicks, although they are tied up, they are still above them, Victor.
Yeah, so again, like if Team Flash loses this final map here, and you know, I hope I didn't jinx them just by saying that, but if they do, that's already putting their chances of getting to the playoffs massively into jeopardy. So again, nothing short of a win is going to do here with Team Flash. So I mean, I alluded to the fact that, you know, the pressure was more onto Team Flash's side compared to Asphyxia. Now that pressure has been turned up to 11 right about now, because it's literally one shot, one kill. You got to get it done in this map, or it's going to be all over.
Yeah, but I think falling back to your earlier prediction, right, that even if this gets pushed to the 5th set, you expect Team Flash to bag it, and for the right reasons, man. I expect Team Flash to bag it as well because of what they've shown us, not just in this one particular matchup, where we also have to understand, just like what Lil Moya G pulled off yesterday, Team Flash doesn't really want to give off a lot of their strats for the playoffs. And, you know, it's something they definitely will not be looking to do against a team like Asphyxia. But, you know, it's not always up to... Oh, my lord! With the initial attack just raining down on the players of Team Flash. Let's see if or not they will be able to continue all of these pressure plays.
Well, Wicked Spoo is going to be forced to go all the way back, but they still managed to bag a couple of bolts though, so in the end it's still going to be a tie despite all that excitement early on. But, you know, if I was a coach on Team Flash's side, you know, I'll tell them, you know, to heck with trying to save all the strats for playoffs. You got to bring everything out. Well, everything but the kitchen sink here. You got to take down Asphyxia here, right here and now. So Sandstorm's coming out for both sides, but it looks like Secondary wasn't able to capitalize on it too much. He's going to get picked off. Prime does get a kill onto ZZK though, so they are trading back and forth. Asphyxia does have the advantage in terms of both at this point though, as they are able to force a Flash all the way back, attempting to try to collect some balls of their own here. Wicked Spoo in response is taking a lot of damage on their end here. The response now down to 170 points. He's going to get taken down by twice, using a couple of good well-placed shots there onto the close roughs. And now with a couple of seconds to go, the next siege is coming out. It's a level 11 siege bot coming out from Asphyxia's side.
Let's see if or not response. Oh, they send the Frank out to meet him first. The damage that the Frank brings out seems to be quite alright, but he is still gonna allow the siege to get to their turret, and the damage now gets dropped down towards 76%. Not too bad at all in terms of Team Flash managing that damage, but now once again with the Sandstorm being pulled out by the side of Asphyxia. Can CZK step on in? No, he will not be able to do much in that Sandstorm, and twice brings it out for the second time around, and that's the kind of pressure that Team Asphyxia needs to finish this matchup off.
Yeah, they still have a 2-bolt lead at the moment. CZK gets himself traded out for Prime there, so it's still no damage done.
Too late.
A level 9 siege coming out from Team Flash's side, so it's still decent enough from their end. Still, unfortunately, not as strong as the last attack. So it looks like Rouse is still going to be able to hold his own, but now it's going to be up to Flash to just go ahead and pile themselves onto the Ike turret. They're able to bring it down.
No.
42%, just in the nick of time. 5 seconds ago, can Asphyxia get himself out his hole? No, they had 20% to 76. It's not close at all. Team Flash wins the first round, but only just.
I think that was, you know, kind of managed really, really well from the side of Team Flash. And when they went in there for that final push, it was just game over, right? But here's the problem. I think it was way too close for comfort. Asphyxia, they did manage to pick up that final ball. They could have pulled that to a tie. No siege was about to be sent out at that point. But just with a fraction of a second late to that ball, it doesn't get transferred over to their own, turret, and they don't get to bring the tie through, which is exactly what I mean by a very unfortunate situation, right? Asphyxia, they are asking so many of these strong questions that Team Flash is not able to respond to, like how they are usually responding to all of these other teams. As convincing as they've been in these matchups with the others, they have not been able to show us against Asphyxia, surprisingly, Victor.
Yeah, and all I can think about right now is, what is Season 3 going to look like for Asphyxia? Because certainly the progression they had already in Season 2 is already quite remarkable. The fact that, after having gone through so many losses throughout the entire play days here, the fact they're able to hold their own against Team Flash now, it may seem a little bit too little too late, but to me it just shows that Asphyxia has been silently learning on the sidelines, silently kind of like matching up their foes and really forcing Flash now to really respect and be face off with quite a formidable opponent now in this final round. So trades are coming through there. That's going to be the Mole Man getting taken out by Jesse, but still bolts are advantage on the Team Flash. Technically, they are going to be able to get 3 bolts now to Asphyxia's 1, so that's still enough to bring a Siege Ball out for Team Flash's side, but can they get some damage done even at this low juncture though? Secondary tries to move on in front here to try to force the Siege Ball back. They're going to be piling in a little bit, already bringing it down to half. They mesh force going to get a little bit difficult for him to get closer to the Ike turret, but still it makes it down to 41% of that Ike turret, and that's off of the back of the level of assault that CZK and Wiggly Spoo were able to bring onto it.
Twice now, Team Flash shows us exactly how they can kind of, bring on the pressure play towards Asphyxia and just shut them down, right? It's all about assisting your siege bot up towards the turret and then dealing that extra damage as well. At the very least, taking down your opponent so they are not able to take down your siege in the nick of time. That was a level 3 siege, man. They should have been able to manage that a little bit better. And now look at this. Asphyxia, they might just see the end of this. 20% left now on that siege, and it just seems like it's game over already. Unfortunate for Asphyxia. Team Flash really showed up this time round with that Bali setup.
Yeah, that was a little bit way faster than I expected there, but I think finally Team Flash has found a good combo here, and they realized what they were kind of missing at this whole time, which was basically that confidence, to actually be aggressive and assault onto Asphyxia. You have to always be able to pull that level of pressure, and we've been seeing that being missing from Team Flash for quite a long time. So finally they're able to find it on this round here. Can they keep it going for the rest of this? Let's see whether or not that's going to be able to work out. I think the Carl pick wasn't quite I don't know, it doesn't feel like it made that much of an impact, but quite frankly, I think Flash now really already recognized the level of threat that they're dealing with here, and I think now they're actually putting out some proper response here.
Yeah, and they should be able to manage this all the way to the bank, right? You kind of said it already, even if it gets pushed down all the way to the end. Team Flash, they should be able to bag it. But we mainly kind of, went in there for that notion because of past, historic matches in here. Not just on the side of Team Flash, also on the side of Asphyxia. They really haven't been able to show up at all, except for day number 1. But it looks like they want to show up on the last day as well, and they're doing it quite in a fashionable sense. Now, Twice bringing in the Mortis, he should be able to place a lot of pressure in the mid-segment of the map, but it's going to be Response that will be trying to push him back. Steps on forth Twice with the aggression, will force Response away, and this is the pressure that he will be able to bring on, and Twice actually goes in for the slice. Unfortunately, does not manage to bag anything, gets taken down.
But still, the level 2 siege bot is brought out, so job is quite done on that regard. The thing is, level 2 should be easy to deal with here from Team Flash. The only thing is that they have to keep him in place though, but Asphyxia isn't really keeping the pressure onto the Ike turret though, just preferring to let the rest of Flash take a lot of damage out of that. Look at the way Mortis tried to jump in last second though, that kind of messed him down a little bit, but I think Asphyxia could have jumped in a little bit earlier there just to put more pressure onto the Ike turret. Nevertheless though, Flash is going to use a slam sword to try to break themselves out of this siege here, and secondary is going to be forced all the way back. Response tries to move up forward, Twice goes in front there, Prime does get the kill onto the M's, then now Twice goes on the Wicked Spool, gets one last hit there to take down the Barley.
Oh, this is just twice playing this to perfection. Asphyxia, they don't want to lose this just yet. And now they send a level 6 siege bot down. Question is, are they going to be able to aid and assist the siege bot all the way up to the top as well? In a little bit of a difference in comparison to Team Flash, they hold back, allowing the siege bot to do a majority of this work. And it's not going to be enough at all, Victor.
Yeah, I think for the most part, they haven't really been doing much to actually hoard a lot of the bolts. That's allowing Asphyxia a bit of a now. This time around, though, Team Flash will have the bolt lead by only 3, and they've already used the Sandstorm quite well here to use the cover of Sandstorm in order to be able to move forward. Unfortunately, ZZK gets picked up in the last second, though, and that unfortunately gave them a bit of a tie right about now. They're gonna find another one there. Oh, Asphyxia already has 8 bolts now to Team Flash's 5. This is looking very, very bad now as a level 9 siege bot is coming up from their side. I think Flash is going to be in big trouble here.
Yeah, this is a GGWP already for the side of Team Flash. Asphyxia, they managed to bag this in the most craziest of fashion, and it was mainly because of the plays that were coming out of Twice. The guy, what a perfect assassin he is, every single time goes in there for the dive. And Sandy played it to perfection as well in a couple of those moments, right? Pulling out the Sandstorm, not for the offensive, but for the defensive, and that really, really helped them sustain a majority of those fights, Victor.
And what a super impactful pick this Mortis was. I mean, Mortis is so good at closing the distance and also maintaining pressure even without having to use his attacks. Just his presence alone, it can be very, very intimidating, and he's using that to disadvantage to hit their advantage here on the Asphyxia side. So I think Flash have to find an answer to that in order to try to turn it around. The good news for them is that they're already 2 rounds up, so I think they have plenty of room for any kind of errors for them to deal with this Mortis. But the fact that it's really coming down to the wire right now for Team Flash here is slightly concerning, but we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, we are in a situation where Team Flash right now, they are 9-11 in terms of score difference. They really, really need to buck up. They cannot fail. They cannot lose. If they do go ahead to lose this, it just brings up so many questions on whether or not they will be able to qualify through, because they are all equaled up with Kick's team right now in terms of those points. And, quite a number of calculations for those tiebreakers will need to get into play if at all Asphyxia manages to astound us and hold Team Flash back. And we've been pushed all the way into set number 5. I have no doubt whatsoever that Asphyxia will be able to pull this all the way through. Question is, can they close it off? If they can play a match as clean as what they just did, Team Flash, they must be sweating right now, Victor.
One thing I also have to kind of give a caveat to is that, Team Flash didn't make it a playoff. Let's just say if they don't make it a playoffs off of this loss here, I would say it's not simply just because of Asphyxia. It's just because of the performance all throughout the play day. Let's not get that wrong here. So in any case, Flash is going to have to do their level best here to meet the challenge of Asphyxia. And so far, they're able to take down Prime at the moment, but they still haven't got response out on the map until just about now. And ZZK is already having a lot of pressure on the right-hand side, but imagine turning it around and take down the Rico. Still a level 2 siege bot is coming out from the red side though, so Team Flash is still on the defense.
And now, what sort of a pressure can they pull off in here? Wiggly Spoo trying to throw his body right in front, but the Genie understands that there's so much that he can do. And this time, Asphyxia, they're doing exactly what they need to do. They aid the siege bot up, and they drop that pressure. 76% left onto the side of Team Flash. What can they do now to go in and aggress to pick up those bolts? Pressure play, map control from the side of Asphyxia will hold back the players from Team Flash. And CZK aggressing on 4th. Will Sandy be able to get much done in here? Goes in for the stun, manages to hold that Rico back and drops him as well. Twice trying to take him out, gets the ricochet off of the side as well, and will be able to pressure CZK. But with the perfect Sandstorm, CZK survives.
My goodness, it was coming down to the wire there, but still Asphyxia brings out a siege ball by a slim 1 bulb difference there. So unfortunately, Respawn is going to have to try his best here to delay it for as long as possible, but it's still going to be able to put out a couple of punches though before they can finally take him down. Good move there from Wiggly Spoo to force the turret out of the way, but still, unfortunately, he's going down to 0. My goodness, Asphyxia, they just left nothing to chance. They really wanted to choke the life out of Team Flash in that round.
I cannot believe what I'm witnessing here right now, Victor. Asphyxia, what a play. I bow down to your tenacity. I bow down to your sheer determination to not exit this competition on a low note. If anything, you guys are going to be walking out the door with a huge smile on your faces. Yes, no playoffs for Asphyxia, but at the very moment, the question is, who the hell cares? Because if you can take a fight up against Team Flash in this way, I think you're doing so much in this competition already. But now, down to the wire, my friend. This is set number 5, round number 5. Who do you think is going to be able to back this now, Victor?
Oh man, I mean, I think like the needle has already moved very far towards Asphyxia's side. I mean, this had been Team Flash's match to lose from the get-go, but it's no more true than right now in this 5th and final round here. So, man, I mean, you just gotta wonder, right? Like, if Asphyxia had been able to perform this well throughout the entire play days here, we would have been seeing a very different kind of matchup. But, you know, what's done has been done. You know, I guess it's going to be onwards and upwards here for Asphyxia, but what a statement, I gotta say. What a statement Asphyxia has made just for today.
Well, it looks like Response wants to assassinate some people in here. Rico brought out as well. Wiggly Spoo this time, he's going to be playing on to Sandy. They know exactly how important that Sandstorm is. But CZK, he feels like he can be a little bit more effective with this range. So let's see exactly what he's able to do, right? The first siege bot on the side for Team Flash. The question is, will they be able to aid the siege bot up? Look at Response, man. He's just holding to the back of the siege bot, allowing the siege bot to take all of the damage. Goes in for the dive against Prime. The question is he going to be able to shoot through? He does not. Gets taken down. But Asphyxia with 40% on that RKE turret now.
That was very, very good because he kept both Prime and Secondary distracted as the Siege Bot went straight for the Ike turret. So again, the Mortis play is very, very good coming off of Respawn's side. He's going to try to do that again, but more crucially, he needs to be able to allow Team Flash to collect enough bolts here for the next one to come out. And at the moment, that doesn't seem to be working out well for them because Asphyxia has the bolt lead now with 5 seconds to go. And CZK is nowhere to be found on the left-hand side. Wiggly Spoo tries to move up forward. A level 7 Siege Bot is coming out from Asphyxia's side, so it's going to be Team Flash's turn to defend this time around.
Well, it looks like Flash drops one player, CZK, surviving in the nick of time. Ike Driver will be trying to take down that player. Yes, a good pull by the side of Response, but unfortunately not much in there. Wiggly Spoo gets taken down, and the turret suffering a lot of damage. Oh no, is this the end? Is this the end? Yes, it is the end! Asphyxia! Asphyxia gets it done!
What is happening here, ladies and gentlemen? The unexpected. Wow. I mean, just wow. Asphyxia, you didn't have to do this, you know, but you did it anyway, and we're all happier as a result. Well done to Team Asphyxia here, pulling quite the upset against Team Flash, and certainly are putting their chances getting to the playoffs into jeopardy. Not for Asphyxia though, they're still going to be going home, but this time they're going home with their heads held high.
Oh, amen, sir. I mean, what a way to make an exit, right? In stellar performance, back-to-back by Asphyxia. These young boys definitely have a lot more to prove, and they have definitely shown us exactly what they are capable of. To take a fight up against the ex-champions and to pull them all the way down into set number 5. Remember exactly what happened in the opener of the competition, Victor. This was the team that showed us they had a lot to prove in this competition when they took that reverse onto Crazy Lagoon. But after that, they kind of, weeded off. We didn't really see them perform much in here. But in this final day, man, And the unfortunate situation here is, Victor, we need to be patient and wait all the way for Season 3 to see them in action again.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad part, isn't it? Because it just feels like if we could see more of Asphyxia, I would bet, they will definitely be climbing a lot more higher up in the challengers. It's just a shame that we've literally run out of opponents for them to face off against.
Yeah.
But I mean, what a run it's been actually in this final round here. Again, Asphyxia, were not really fighting to get into the playoffs. They're fighting here just literally for their own pride, for their own personal sake. And I would say they've definitely made themselves a very, very strong case for Season 3.
And, the strong case was made against one of the biggest threats in the competition. Not the biggest in terms of numbers on the board, because Team Flash really has not been that determined to show his perfection in terms of play like what Lil Moya G has been able to bring in here. But, that being said, the true undefeated team of the competition is actually the side of Zeta Division, right? Because the only match that they lost was a walkover where they didn't actually attend. And for Asphyxia to jump on in and to show up in their very best form against a truly solid side like Team Flash is just nothing short of impressive. I mean, in Brawl Ball, it went back and forth, but this third map, it just, Asphyxia won me over here.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this performance here, this is like grand finals level stuff, and it's only a shame that Asphyxia isn't going to be benefiting a lot out of this, So, I mean, fair play, it's still down to your chance of getting a playoff. It still depends on your performance all throughout all the play days. So you always have to be on your, you always have. No matter what kind of opposition you're going to be facing off against. So, the fact that the Asphyxia, took a lot of those losses in stride and still, managed to show up even on the final day here and actually pull up an upset like this, and even this kind of fashion here, it's just the cherry on top, for me. So, again, it's just super hopeful, looking at them, and I'm really looking forward to see what they will be able to bring for Season 3, because if this is any indication here, I would say they're on a very, very good trajectory.
Oh, amen, bro. I mean, they open up the competition with a reverse sweep. They close off the competition with a reverse sweep. But the closer of the competition is even more stellar, because that reverse sweep was just against one of the best in the world in terms of Brawl Stars, right? So Asphyxia, they have a lot to be proud of. But like you mentioned, the competition was not, lost in just this one particular matchup. Although it was a win overall throughout the whole of the group stages, Asphyxia did not manage to hit as hard as they showed up in here today. But I think overall, they showed us quite a good time in the competition, Victor.
So, I mean, again, the most unexpected thing coming into this one here. Again, I came into this expecting Team Flash to be able to win it out in the long run, but the fact that Asphyxia just made me eat like my words here, I think that's actually the real victory here, I would say.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Standings are ready. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on a tiebreaker situation, who managed to end up on top? Kicks, or is it gonna be Team Flash? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here are the standings, and the playoffs will have Zeta Division, Lil Moya G, Iceborne, as well as Team Flash. Victor, amazing stuff out of Kicks team. Crazy as well as Asphyxia, but at the end of the day, the four supreme brands, they make it through. Singapore, at the very least, they have got that one flag being waved there by Team Flash, Victor.
Yo, I mean, again, I would also have loved to see Kick's team to get into that final spot, but that's just the way it is. On countback, Team Flash still had more wins against the other teams here, so that's already enough to allow Team Flash to qualify into the playoffs. But it's still, again, you still got to hand it over to Asphyxia for the amount of performance they pull off here tonight. I mean, again, these kids, they really played their heart out here against Team Flash, even though they knew that even if they won, they still would not get anything in return. So the fact that they still went out all out, on this final round here, just goes to show that these boys have a lot of spirit in their hearts. So still well played to them. despite the fact that they weren't able to deny Team Flash it, I would still say it was still an overall victory here for Asphyxia.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it was definitely a victory overall for Asphyxia, even if they do not make it through to the playoffs, right? But the same can be said for Covalence Reform, Crazy Lagoon, as well as Kick's team. You will be able to agree with me, Victor. Season 2 is a different sort of beast in comparison to Season 1, but yet the 4 teams that made it through to the playoffs, they definitely proved themselves. This is the setup. This will be the bracket setup for the playoffs. Let's check out exactly who will meet whom when we open the final day up.
Yeah, it's going to be Zeta Division versus Team Flash right off the bat there. So plenty of grudges between the two of them, and they're going to be able to carry on this rivalry in Season 2. So this is going to be exciting to see. But I think one we're going to be keeping a very close eye on is certainly going to be Lil Moya G versus Icebond. That's the second upper bracket match here. So that's going to be one to watch out for when we come back for the finals here, the playoffs of the Brawl Stars Season 2 Challengers.
I'm just upset that I don't get to witness this showdown between Team Flash as well as Zeta Division. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I will not be joining you guys for the playoffs, unfortunately. But you know, Zeta Division, Team Flash, Lil Moya G, Icebond, all 4 of these teams, they've shown us enough within the group stages itself to keep us filled all throughout. So whatever that we see on those days of playoffs, it's definitely going to be taking this to a whole other level. Brawl Stars definitely has, not just grown, but flourished in comparison to Season 1. The ESL Mobile Challenge definitely has grown, Victor.
I especially love the fact that, when you look at the rankings there, even the bottom 3 are just neck to neck. Crazy.
Yes.
They were practically, if it's just you just compare that to Season 1, where you can clearly see a huge division between all the regions here, but this time around in Season 2, that division is already kind of like closed up, and really it really was anyone's kind of like opportunity to get into the playoffs. So yeah, very, very well done. I mean, the level of progression we're seeing from all of our teams here is just really, really exciting to see here. And again, I can't wait for the playoff brackets later on. It's going to be on November, so even though you're not going to be there live with us on that show there, Mustachio, I think like we're still going to have you in spirit anyways.
I'll be watching, man. I'll be watching. There's no way I will miss that showdown, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Make sure you guys don't miss it, as 4 teams definitely will be able to show you Brawl Stars perfection during the playoffs. It has been an absolute honor bringing you guys all of this broadcast. Victor, thank you so much for joining me today and making it an absolute enjoyable moment all throughout the day. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been the final day of the group stages for the ESL Mobile Challenge for Brawl Stars. My name's AJ, I'm the Mustachio, down here with the one and only Victor Cax, signing off. He'll catch you guys at the playoffs.
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the wait's up. That's how we know when we level up. Hey, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's how we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up. Level up.